Clap. All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends, welcome to the new episode. Actually, it's fourth episode.
Fourth episode of
Fourth
yours.
episode of the Magic Man Pod. And as you can see here, once again, we have a repeat guest.
Back again.
As I told you guys that he's going to be a regular feature over here. Girish Arya from School of Combat.
So अभी in the beginning stages जो भी लोग अभी हमसे जुड़े हैं they'd be like इस आदमी को कोई काम नहीं है क्या डेली आ जाता है भाई हमारा काम ही ये है
Actually, ये काम से ही आता है यहाँ पे. So he trains with us very regularly here at Rebel. Comes from Jaipur almost every weekend now. और मेरे को क्या फ़ायदा होता है why I want him to come here is because of the Kaju Barfi. So जयपुर से जब भी आता है काजू बर्फी लेके आता है and I love those things.
Agarwal sweets.
Yes.
There you go.
So what is the speciality of Jaipur which you're telling कि सबसे best sweets होते हैं?
Pretty much everything when it comes to sweets. Like
जो तू कह रहा था कि I'll come and then you can have that.
अच्छा once you come to Jaipur so ऐसे तो बहुत सारे ऐसे लोकल शॉप्स हैं जिनका कुछ ना कुछ फेमस है जैसे उस तरह रावत बहुत फेमस है फॉर इट्स कचौड़ीज एंड मावा कचौड़ीज सो आप सबने वो स्पाइसी कचौड़ी एंड स्टफ खाया होगा बट वहाँ का मावा कचौड़ीज
मावा में क्या होता है मीठा
मीठा मीठा होता है वो थोड़ा चाशनी के साथ में बट इट्स रियली गुड
Is that like मालपुआ या
ना मालपुआ इज डिफरेंट फिर उधर का ये सब भी बड़ा अच्छा है गुलाब जामुन मालपुआ एंड देन सम रबड़ी इनटू दैट सम रियल डेजर्ट वो क्रोसॉन और वो सब वाला जनरेशन उधर नहीं है
I think Jaipur is a great market if you are looking to start a fitness club over there.
एब्सोल्युटली
The diet and the sweets look insanely mouth-watering.
हम लोग का सप्लीमेंट है वो पोस्ट न्यूट्रिशन पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग मैं तो वही सप्लीमेंट में लेता हूँ
What is this addiction to chai that you have? Every single day I see you post early morning chai या शायद late evening chai.
सो दैट्स मोर ऑफ लाइक नॉस्टैल्जिया टू बी ऑनेस्ट मेरे लिए तो
किस चीज़ का nostalgia?
नॉस्टैल्जिया इन द सेंस मतलब बचपन से आई बीन सीइंग इट पेरेंट्स पी रहे हैं यू नो एक हर आदमी का होता है ना कि थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेस बस होता है उसका एक साइन ऑफ रिलीफ होता है उसके लिए लाइक ऑफिस में होते थे बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर है तो कोई बोलते यार चाय पी लेते हैं लाइक ना लोगों को सुट्टा चाहिए एग्जैक्टली तो चाय सुट्टा एक वो उस तरह का चीज़ हो जाता है इट्स लाइक relaxation I associate that with relaxation
Were you allowed to drink chai as a kid with your family?
मुश्किल से
My
बट
parents did not allow me
बट
to drink chai.
आगे मैंने थोड़ा सा कुछ ज़्यादा ही टेस्ट डेवलप कर लिया तो आई वाज लाइक नहीं अब तो चाहिए ही चाहिए तो मॉर्निंग बेड टी से ही मैं फिर उठना चालू कर दिया था
My
मैंने
parents are so addicted to chai and especially they make it so sweet as well that they wanted me to stay away from it. So जब भी वो लोग शाम में या जब भी दिन में शायद 3 या 4 बार वो लोग चाय पीते हैं it's insane. And whenever I asked for it when I was a kid, they never allowed me to have it. They're like, नहीं तेरे को भी फिर पीने का मन करेगा बार-बार.
इट्स ऑल्सो गुड हैंग आउट थिंग टू मतलब आप अगर दोस्तों के साथ
It's a
में
very traditional thing, ना?
Yes.
कोई भी अगर गेस्ट आ रहा है तो उनको क्या सर्व करते हैं चाय.
चाय एब्सोल्युटली और ऊपर से एक मेरे दिमाग में ऐसे वो भी रहता है लाइक व्हाट इज पीसफुल फॉर यू लाइक कहीं हिल पे गए द फर्स्ट थिंग आई विल सी इज अ टपरी वहाँ बैठे हैं चाय पी रहे हैं पहाड़ देख रहे हैं तो इट्स ऑल चाय इट्स जस्ट पीस फॉर मी दैट्स हाउ इट गोस
I have become a coffee person though, so usually I
आप ज़्यादा मेट्रो सिटीज में रह लिए
वो दिल्ली, बॉम्बे, गुड़गांव ये सब.
बैंगलोर का फिल्टर कॉफी इज नेक्स्ट लेवल दो आई मिस इट
आप गर्मी में भी चाय पीते हो?
यस
So that was something that my foreign friends couldn't wrap their heads around. उनको उनके जगह में गर्मी में it's cold, but it's true. Even I was like नहीं चाय मैं पीता हूँ because it brings peace.
गर्मी में ठंडा करता है चाय टू बी
और
ऑनेस्ट
राजस्थान और ये जो नॉर्दर्न प्लेन्स है यहाँ पे तो मैक्सिमम टाइम गर्मी ही रहता है.
हाँ.
लाइक 8 months गर्मी रहता है, so people won't stop drinking चाय. ठंड में और मजा आता है, but गर्मी में भी लोग people are like हाँ.
ठंड में मजा आता है गर्मी में बुरा नहीं लगता.
हाँ बुरा नहीं लगता दैट्स ट्रू दैट्स ट्रू
Yeah, but I think it's more about that stress busting thing that you said. वो लोगों को आदत आती है when the body feels relaxed, they anticipate चाय और वो Pavlov's का शायद कोई.
इट्स लाइक मोर ऑफ अ एसोसिएशन
Yes.
यू एसोसिएट दीज थिंग्स
Pavlov's
वो
bell,
चीज़ है.
ऐसा कुछ.
साइकोलॉजी पीयूष भाई गॉड मुझे एक ही ज़्यादा मैस्लो से रहा है कि
Maslow's pyramid ना.
मैस्लोस पिरामिड
तो ये कौन सा तेरा satisfy नहीं हुआ अभी उसमें?
सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन
पैसे वैसे सब आ गए.
उस पे मैं ज़्यादा जा नहीं रहा मुझे लगता नहीं वो आएंगे तो मैंने उस नीड को छोड़ दिया
और skip that part.
सीधा एक्चुअलाइजेशन पे जा रहा हूँ
Meditation you just skip from the bottom rung to the top.
सीधा हाँ पहुँच जाओ गो टू एक्चुअलाइजेशन इवन फिजियोलॉजिकल नीड्स में भी बड़ी दिक्कत है जैसे फूड एयर वाटर तो है पर एक सेक्स भी आता है
How is the hinge going on for you, bro?
I don't use it.
You were very frustrated with the Gurgaon girls last I heard. ये बोल रहा था कि यार ये लोग मिलते ही नहीं है weekdays में.
हाँ सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है नहीं, बट आई डोंट यूज इट. ऐसा दोस्तों से सुना था मैंने तो. बट दोस्त ये बता रहे थे कि पता नहीं यहाँ का ये इशू क्यों है. लाइक दे जस्ट डोंट वांट टू मीट यू इन ऑन वीकडेज. सबको वीकेंड्स पे मिलना है.
यार I think
वीकेंड्स पे होटल्स आर टू एक्सपेंसिव.
most of the
खाने
girls
वाले.
most of the girls here are also like working. So maybe working days में even I don't prefer going out. Like एक तो शाम में 6-7 बजे free हो तो it requires a different kind of mindset to be हाँ जैसे ही काम खत्म हुआ let's go party, let's go drinking.
Makes sense.
And then you need to end it fast to the next one. Friday में तुम ले जाओ.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
But I'd be more of a person who likes to end it fast, to be honest. Why do you want to carry it so much forward?
And fast on the date or
Fast with everything, I'd say. You know,
typical man.
Next week they
the boys. As long as you're not emotionally attached with the person, what's the point of carrying it forward? You know what I mean?
Carrying what forward?
Anything.
The relation, the emotional connect, what?
The relation, I would say.
Would you like to be?
Like being around that person for a longer time. That's how it's going to
Did you have a girlfriend?
be. Before, yes.
कितने साल पहले?
I guess last was before COVID, 2020.
Oh, it's been a while.
कितने time के लिए? Like how long was that?
So when I was in Jaipur in 2020, it lasted for around like 7-8 months. And when I was in Pune, I was into this live-in thing. So yeah,
Nice.
that was for 2 years.
But I'm very similar to you. Like I don't feel the need for relationships. At least throughout this part of my life, where I'm so focused on like reaching a different set of goals that I put for myself. Maybe that's kind of a excuse now that I've also created in my mind, psychological thing. But I just kind of run away from commitment. So
Makes sense in your case, to be honest. Look at the guy, bro. Look at him.
there's
Makes sense, eh?
nothing great to look at apart from probably jiu-jitsu.
And the T-shirt right now. Look at that T-shirt,
It's
guys.
from Kazakhstan, guys. Kazakhstan. They had some good stuff. I could not resist going on a shopping spree. I never go on a shopping spree. I don't like shopping at all. But Kazakhstan, great.
What is the max thing that a jiu-jitsu guy goes in for a shopping and looks for? Shorts and T-shirts, I guess. Rash
Guards
guards.
and shorts. Those are the main things.
That's a difficult thing to find in India. No?
And also a lot of underwears because they want to change them so many times a day. Like every single day that we train, I have to change like 3 sets of clothes. My bag is literally just full of clothes.
And still, then there are people who just do not change, and then they come with
There are
that
people
filthy
like
outfit.
Mr. Joe. Like ये tradition समझने में time लगता है ना. People don't understand कि they have to train once and then they have to take shower and then they have to retrain again, maybe lift, do something else and then retrain in the evening. वो लोग आते हैं सुबह बस एक टी-शर्ट लेके आया कि ट्रेन किया और एक फिर घर जाने वाला टी-शर्ट.
इंडिया में आई गेस अभी तक इतना स्टाफ का और वो सब चीज़ों का भी चीज़ नहीं आया ना. आया?
A lot of people I have trained with have told me stories that they have contacted. Like Warrior Scope में बहुत ही ज़्यादा होता था.
Especially in
But also-
basements, right?
But it also depends on the hygiene of the place. I think it's more prevalent on the puzzle mats क्योंकि उसमें it catches
Yes,
all
yes,
those
yes.
bacteria and viruses.
This is something even Coach Rohit told me in IJJ. Like, if you are going for the mat, go for something which has a big vinyl on it or something like that, so that bacteria उसके अंदर ना जाए. In that case.
There's a funny story. मेरे को पता नहीं है अभी उसका नाम नहीं याद आ रहा है. What was the name of that exact thing that I had? But उसमें क्या होता है? Pimples हो आते हैं on your hand. So right after training at IJJ, and that time I was so new to grappling and sport in general. I did not have any idea कि इसमें भी ऐसा कुछ infections या spreadable viruses ऐसा कुछ होता है. So I was just sitting there, we were smoking and we were talking, chatting casually, and then I just turned to someone, I guess it was Rohit, and I say, bro, ये क्या हो रहा है मेरे हाथ में? And that day I'd roll with every single person, okay? And there were like 5-6 batches of pimples over here, and probably some in my arms. He sees it and he freaks out. He was like, what the fuck, bro? Why didn't you tell anyone? And then everyone who looks around, they're like, bro, what the fuck? I felt like I murdered someone. Like, क्या हुआ? Is that so bad? Like, AIDS rates नहीं हो गया? And then they're like, नहीं, this is bad. And you have to go immediately get it cottoned off. मैंने कहा, वो क्या होता है? The electrocution say they just pop all those things and you have to leave like some scars, shit like that.
क्या ward वगैरह था क्या?
पता नहीं, it's not exactly a ward. I'll tell you the name later when I ask one of them.
Bacterial ही होगा, but I guess
but it
bacterial
was
viral.
bacterial only or something like that. So वो था, and basically you shouldn't be rolling when you have that. And they said कि in our gym we have had like a bout of this where it just goes around to other people if you continue rolling. So that day I learned my first lesson that you have to stay very clean and hygienic while grappling. So then I went to the doctor and then I had to like physically impale all those.
Was it painful?
It was a little bit like pinching skin every single time I did it. So वो पूरा burnt off करवा के फिर मैं next दिन training के लिए भी पहुंच गया. And they are like, नहीं, not allowed, not allowed for a few days. Interestingly, even J Rod had this story. I was listening to their podcast, the Simple Man podcast. If you guys listen to.
Okay.
So J Rod उसमें बताया था कि how he wasn't allowed to train with Danaher at all. क्योंकि एक बार किसी ने मजाक में बोल दिया था डैनर को कि he has herpes,
right.
and Danner was so freaked out because obviously over his 30 years of career he would have seen so many bad, and Henzo Gracie's basement was famous for
Notorious for that.
Infamous for that,
Yep.
actually. So उसने उसको ट्रेनिंग नहीं करने दिया throughout the Puerto Rico stint. He was just sitting at home, and that's why he was pissed also a little bit.
Okay, with John Danaher.
Yes.
But that makes sense. And there are a lot of gyms, big gyms, especially I'd be talking about Tigers, Phuket top team. They used to specifically mention this thing. Like, अगर आपको staff है, तो please stay out. And आपका training expenses will be like covered future में.
Please नहीं लिखना चाहिए. अगर staff है, तो just get the fuck off. Don't even be.
For sure.
It can't be a request then.
I think UFC में Luke Rockhold का बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ issue रहता है with staff ना.
Yes, a lot of fighters, like you can see it. ये Kevin Lee
को था. यहाँ पे बड़ा सा pimple था उसको.
And it just drains you out of everything. Like Gordon का भी जो ये सारा gut problem चल रहा है, all of them originated from these staph infections and things like that, where he took
a lot of antibiotics. Makes sense.
And he kept training through that, and the body's immune system was like, fuck off, bro, I can't do multitasking.
Antibiotics just kill you, especially with your performance and stuff.
Yes,
No? That's how it goes with antibiotics.
Your cardio is dead, your body feels weak.
Makes sense.
How many times do you fall sick in a year? Do you have a frequency?
Like pretty much every month when it comes to me, man. I got a very bad immunity, to be honest. But
immunity is bad, hey. You also have the string of getting injured.
Injured, man. I'm an injury magnet. You gave me this name, no? Now I'm having this TD pain. So it's a pec pain, and I don't know how did I got with this now.
He did a very smart thing. We were lifting. He said, "Ki acha, I'll also lift." So he comes and he was like, "Aapse bas 5 kg kam lift karunga." And then he busted out all those reps, and then on top of that we wrestled and we did like half guard positional for an hour probably.
Yep.
Where he miserably tried to.
I was pretty much every time able to pass his guard whenever I wanted to.
At will he failed.
Okay, I'm just kidding. I wasn't able to pass his guard even for a single time. That's the reality. But I tried it so hard, then I just didn't realize when did I pull this off.
इसका फिर कल से ऐसे chest पकड़ के.
Hence the TT pain.
Hence the TT pain, bro.
But hopefully you haven't pulled like a ribcage muscle.
Nah, nothing like that. I think it's in a muscle only. Maybe like very small side muscle.
But unfortunately now you can't train for the rest of the time that you stayed here. Oh, by the way, we are going to Nepal, guys. This is a new announcement. We are going to Nepal on the 13th of July. This is June, right? 13th of June.
13th of June.
For this thing called Nepal Warriors Championship. Shout out to Divish and the Lock and Roll नाम है ना टीम का, Lock and Roll MMA. Lock and Roll. That's a funny name, like.
Lock and roll.
Very cool name also, Lock and Roll.
You already came back from this big trip from Kazakhstan, and now straight away you're back to Nepal. How did your trip go, by the way?
Kazakhstan इतना बड़ा trip नहीं था. It was a very short trip, probably of 4 days. जिसमें से कि 2 days were just busy with the fights and everything. But it was the most fun trip that I've had in like 4-day trip. First of all, तो पहला बार it was being outside India, so that novelty made it more fun. The whole process of getting your passport
stamp,
like
right?
First time.
हाँ. और visa इसमें था नहीं. Kazakhstan में you have free visa for like 14 days, so I didn't have to go.
Which is a good part, I would say.
But yeah, still going through immigration was a little bit nerve-wracking.
Okay.
So क्या हुआ कि जब मैं दिल्ली वाले immigration पे पहुंचा, so उसमें ये रेहान उसमें पहुंचा नहीं था मेरे साथ. He was like late to the airport. So I said, "Yeah, I'm going in." So उसने कहा कि if they ask you, why are you going? Where are you going? So just say कि मेरे friend का कुछ business कोई bullshit था, उसने excuse बताया. मैंने कहा, will he buy it? What if he just looks at me suspiciously and is like, नहीं नहीं चल निकल. तो he sent me some, और उसने कहा कि उसने बस एक नाम मतलब फर्स्ट नेम भेज दिया. इस बंदे का ऐसा फर्स्ट नाम लेना, उसका भी नाम रेहान है. मैंने कहा ब्रो एक तो बड़ा ये
क्या है
sketchy लग रहा
ये पूरा ही फिशी हो गया
या
है.
तो पहले पूरा नाम भेज, फिर पूरा उसका एड्रेस भेज. तो फिर जब तक वो भेजा तब मेरा नंबर आ गया वहाँ पे. मैं गया, मैंने कहा अच्छा चलो जो होगा देखा जाएगा. फिर वो बंदा मेरे से पूछता है ऐसे किया उसने अपना प्रोसेस. फिर मैंने इधर देखा, पूछा कि वीज़ा. मैंने कहा कि वीज़ा फ्री होता है शायद. मैंने रिसर्च किया. उसने कहा अच्छा रिसर्च किया है. देन ही सेज कि कितने दिनों का फ्री होता है. मैंने कहा 14 days. मैंने भी तो पूरा रिसर्च करा ही था. तो जैसे ही मैंने कहा 14 days देखता है. Didn't ask any question कि क्यों जा रहे हो, कहाँ
क्या सस्पिशन से दिख रहा था क्या?
सस्पिशन नहीं, just like formality. वो भी
Okay.
बड़े बोर होते हैं ना कि हर दिन
सही
उनका
बात
सेम
है,
काम होता है.
सेम जॉब.
So even if you say thank you to them with a smile face, they'll not even acknowledge it. They will just say
हाँ,
चलो
ठीक है.
बढ़ते जाओ. It's like so annoying to them.
जा भाई तू जा, दूसरा तू भी जा.
Enjoy करो. They'll be like तू enjoy करो यार, मैं इधर ही बैठा हूँ. So yeah, that was the start of the trip. Overall the trip was fantastic.
Especially a
The result was
fighter one,
fantastic.
man. That's
Yes.
the best part.
Yeah, if you lose the fight, then the whole trip seems like.
फिर मतलब नहीं रह जाता ना, एक वैसा फील रहता है in that
So
case.
everything clicked here. Met few Kazakh girls also. So that was nice.
Yes.
That was nice. Partied a little bit and
In touch with any one of them?
a few.
There you go. So next Kazakhstan trip, the man is coming.
Yeah, hopefully soon. So Almaty was a beautiful place. So next time that I visit there, I want to go to the mountains. So there's this a very famous ice skating rink there. It's called Meteor, and that's located on a hill, and it's the highest ice skating rink, probably second highest in the world. So the views from there are like insane. So I definitely want to go there and check it out. Next time I
We'll
think
go.
we'll also
We'll go together for sure. What's up with the traffic and system up over there?
Bro, the traffic, like the whole country is so big and the population density is so small that it makes for some of the best roadways and the travel experience. Nobody honks there. That was great for a change.
Like you can judge a country with its traffic. That's what I
Yes,
believe. And
yes.
come.
India में तो like कुछ नहीं हो सकता bro. India का तो इतना population ही है. Why do you bring this traffic thing up?
नहीं, just
Are you dissatisfied?
I तो I'm totally dissatisfied with this thing. यहाँ का तो जिस तरह से इस चीज़ को प्रीच किया जाता है ना कि आपका खुद का मतलब you didn't make it अगर आपके पास खुद का घर नहीं है और खुद की कार नहीं है. तो इवन अ पर्सन जो बहुत स्ट्रगल करके कुछ पैसा कमा रहा है उसके ऊपर इतना प्रेशर है, वो EMIs ले लुआ कि अपने आप को हमेशा के लिए स्लेवरी में डाल के एंड अब उसे एक कार लेनी है, उसको एक घर लेना है एंड एट द सेम टाइम उसे एक आईफोन भी लेना है और वो भी लेटेस्ट.
Car flat iPhone.
So, no, I think this system of like societal pressure in India is definitely there, where people are expected to get a house and a car of their own to be made successful, to be felt successful by especially people around you. That is something. But again, I think if you are intelligent enough, you should just rise above these social stigma.
Totally true. But then वही वो Maslow's hierarchy पीयूष भाई इसमें आया था. It's all because of your social needs and
Like I definitely don't want to buy a house from my own money. कोई और अगर पैसे देता है, it's fine.
and it's very difficult especially at these times, no?
It's very difficult and it's pointless, bro. Like if you do the simple maths, I've read it on so many different articles and things like that, that buying a home in especially the first tier city, tier 1 cities in any country, it's basically just a waste of money unless you're making so much money that you don't care. Then you
That's
can
true.
buy like flats in the best high-rise apartments if you have like 5-10 crores just laying around. So if you're that kind of minister money where you're making
Makes
millions
sense.
and
Minister
millions.
money. That's the right word.
Yeah. So apart from that, if you're like just a working person who is making good enough to live like a sustainable, happy life, it doesn't make sense to invest in a house, especially in a tier 1 city, which I am repeating because, as you said, the problem here is infrastructure problem, pollution problem, just people problem also.
Yep, absolutely.
So, like in Gurgaon, in sense में is much better. Like यहाँ का traffic is still much better. I can still travel to some places in at a much more faster pace. Whereas place like Bangalore where I've been, that's the worst. Like मैं एक article पढ़ रहा था जिसमें कि Bangalore's traffic is probably the second busiest after London's.
Whoa.
Man, oh man.
और उसमें था stats कि if you want to travel like 5 kilometers in Bangalore, it will take you on average 28 minutes, which is insane because if you travel by bicycle, it will take you 14 minutes.
Okay.
So
Imagine if we become a country like that, जो realize कर ले इस चीज़ को कि ये घर एंड ये सब जो आपको बेचा जा रहा है, कार लेना है ज़रूरी, एंड वी कम बैक टू बाइसिकल, कितना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो सकता है. बाइसिकल पे मतलब टू व्हीलर पे आ जाओ, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट पे आ जाओ. इट्स ऑब्वियसली इजियर सेड देन डन.
even two-wheelers are better because they will occupy less space also. So उसमें ये भी mention था. I'll obviously not mention the source because many people get biased when they listen कि अच्छा ये source से आ रहा है तो गलत ही होगा या कुछ politically होगा. So I don't want to mention the source, but they also said in the video कि the problem is not that we lack infrastructure and big roads, but the problem is कि cars in general occupy so much space per person, on average per person, that you can't create enough space for that, even if you're building like 8 lanes freeways and things like that, because then more vehicles will come in to accommodate that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Whereas if you go with something like public transport, where now you make public transport so better that hundreds of people can travel with one bus in that same route throughout that period of time, where there would be like 100 of cars traveling. So that'll reduce the space problem.
Like obviously there's this motivation thing that's going to come into the picture, that is like बहुत सारी, जैसे आप डेनमार्क वगैरह कंट्री में जाओगे तो there's this a good public transport system, तो आदमी के दिमाग में पहले ही वो चीज़ नहीं आता, अरे लाइन में लगना होगा एंड स्टफ. वो चीज़ अगर यहाँ इम्प्रूव हो जाए तो people can get motivated to go up over there.
यहाँ मेरे को लगता है main problem why we can't replicate these European countries because they are so small. They are like even smaller than us.
Population thing is also the main
Population
cause.
कम है, place small है, so everyone understands, they feel well connected. All यहाँ पे करो, I remember दिल्ली में हुआ था odd even thing, and people were just like mad about it कि हाँ कैसे गाड़ी कैसे नहीं चला सकते हैं आज के दिन, how ridiculous.
Freedom ले लिया हमारा है.
And then government had to pull back. So I think it's associated with that same idea that you mentioned again कि people feel so empowered कि भाई अपनी गाड़ी है, इसमें ride कर रहे हैं तो अलग ही मजा आ रहा है.
तो फिर तो माइंडसेट का फर्क हो गया. लाइक व्हेन यू गो टू डेनमार्क, या उन लोग का माइंडसेट टोटली अलग है रिगार्डिंग लाइफ एंड स्टफ. यहाँ का माइंडसेट इज मोर अबाउट दिस.
They are much more aware about the climate also, the impact that we are having for our next generation.
एब्सोल्युटली. हमारा प्रेजेंट कार्यकाल निकलना चाहिए.
इंडिया में लाइक भाई मेरा 40 साल कट गया, उसके बाद तुम देखो, तुम्हारे बच्चे देखे. आई डोंट गिव अ फ्लाइंग फक.
फ्यूचर जनरेशन इज ऑब्वियसली, जब इंडिया में आएगी, दे आर गोइंग टू अब्यूज देयर एंसेस्टर्स, मैन.
That's the thing, because you're dead, it won't matter to you.
Absolutely.
Let them abuse your graves. That's
गालियों से क्या शर्माना.
But yeah, ये सच है. When I went to Europe, बहुत clearly पता लग गया था कि population कम है, इसलिए कर पा रहे हैं. So able to manage the
कहाँ
ways.
गए थे तुम यूरोप में?
तो वहाँ पे चार like the countries I felt the traffic वाला, स्विट्जरलैंड बढ़िया. कंस्ट्रक्शन चलता है, they will perfectly put something. गाड़ियाँ ना कुछ ना हो, ट्रेन कुछ ना हो, walking कुछ ना हो. And the one thing about them is if a human is walking, the cars and machines will stop.
Yes, the civic sense of.
वहाँ से जाके भी रुक जाएंगे वो.
हाँ, this is something I have heard from a lot of people.
कि वहाँ पे लोग, they have this switch on the zebra crossing where if you want to just turn the traffic lights red, you just click it and then you pass and all the cars will stop. They won't even be agitated कि अच्छा हम जा रहे थे इसने रोक दिया. They just respect you कि हाँ pedestrian. India में pedestrian, bro, you get anxiety walking on roads. People say कि why don't you walk on roads or why don't you cycle on roads as a thing of for being healthy.
I want to stay alive.
Here you'll have anxiety. I always have to look behind my back. भाई कोई आ तो नहीं रहा इधर से, right से इधर से.
वो छोड़ो, आप साइकिल चलाने निकल जाओ सुबह के टाइम पे, आपको नहीं पता कौन सा आदमी पीछे से आके आपको मार के निकल जाए, और आपको ही बोलो कहाँ देख रहा है.
Dangerously
And he's
close
out.
to you.
Yeah.
So these are things which are problematic. I think ये ना पूरे Indian subcontinent के mindset है, and I don't understand why have we become like this. क्योंकि बाकी part of the world like Europe या even these कौन सा Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, all these middle European countries या Asian countries, they have this good civic sense in people. उनको पता है वो जो fundamentals duty जो हम पढ़ते थे ना civics वाले section में. And I think we do not.
हम सिर्फ पढ़ते रह गए, काम नहीं आया.
Yeah. वो ingrained है वहाँ पे. Like in Amsterdam, 5 गुंडे चल रहे थे. My opinion in horse classes, if they're coming, you get a side, or वो रहता है. Those guys were shouting like, "अबे हट जा, ये जा रहा है." For me. They were like, क्या कर रहा है, हट जा, ये जा रहा है. And they
maybe they thought you were the bigger crime boss, just walking with a long.
Joe salad.
Yeah.
So how did you know that they were gundas?
I mean, I just use that as a metaphor. Like, what are the tattoos?
Acha, big guys.
This guy judging people on their tattoos.
How wrong that is.
Joe.
Come on, Joe.
But obviously, I was wrong, right? The way when they react, I was like, oh, okay.
They're just so nice human beings with tattoos. That's why they respected you.
फिर तो तुम एमएमए कम्युनिटी में सर्वाइव नहीं कर पाओगे.
सबके tattoos. So yeah, so Kazakhstan was nice, and we were talking about Nepal. So Nepal also going for the first time. Have you been to Nepal before?
मैं दार्जिलिंग गया था तो वहाँ से बस ऐसे ही नाम के लिए बॉर्डर क्रॉस किया था.
अच्छा. So जाके
हाँ
नेपाल में
भाई, आई एम इन नेपाल नाउ, सेकंड कंट्री डन.
पिक्चर खींच के शाम में नाश्ता नेपाल में.
वो भी नहीं किया मैंने, बट हाँ ठीक है.
Nice. So Nepal में first of all I want to give shout out to Lock and Roll Gym of Divij. They are hosting this Nepal Warriors Championship, which is a promotion which is going to pay amateurs as well, which is something which is very laudable, appreciable. Because amateur fighters never get paid, plus they are made to fight like in inhuman conditions.
Inhuman conditions,
4 or
yes.
5 fights a day, which according to MMA is like nuts. एक fight करने में आपकी हालत खराब, plus the injuries that you take from one fight. You can't do 4 fights in a day or 2.
Totally dangerous for a human being.
Yes, very dangerous as well. So
Even in unhygienic conditioning, you and Rajesh sir were talking about this in that podcast also. Like you are not sure वहाँ पे अच्छे doctors हैं कि नहीं, ambulance है कि नहीं,
Bro,
food.
some of the guys who were there, like who came to our gym, they said कि जो ये local championship में जो हम लोग fight करते हैं, amateur championships में, they don't even provide you basic food or water. They were searching for water at the venue and there was no water after the weight cut. So that's
God, oh
like
God.
insane.
That's crazy.
और कहने के लिए सारे अपने आप को नेशनल MMA चैंपियनशिप.
ये तो कुछ हद से ज़्यादा हो गया यार. National, मैं nationals खेलता हूँ. I play nationals, bro.
And everyone is a national champion. Even in grappling, this thing is like rampant, where there will be like this local GFI promotion, which has like random ass white belts coming in to compete. Wrestlers आते हैं उसे compete करने, and some of these guys go win those championships, and they are like, oh, now I'm 7 times, 10 times, 15 times national champion.
उसमें finishes भी headlock से finishes हैं उसमें. एक दूसरे को कौन कितना ज़्यादा squeeze कर सकता है उन grappling championships में, that's a finish.
It's trash.
That's how it goes. यही सेम चीज़ अभी मॉडर्न जिम्स के अंदर भी घुस चुका है विद दिस थिंग. लाइक प्रीटी मच एवरीवन इज नेशनल चैंपियन, प्रीटी मच एवरी जिम इन इंडिया. अब वो एमएमए करा रहा है, बॉडी बिल्डिंग जिम. दे आर पुटिंग दिस एमएमए थिंग ऑन टू देयर होर्डिंग. इट हैज़ बिकम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ हाइजीन फैक्टर नाउ कि अब ये भी होता है, यू कैन कम एंड ट्रेन दिस टू. एंड वहाँ पे जाओगे एमएमए करने के लिए तो यू गेट इन.
Back पे लोग मारे जा रहे हैं, left
Yes.
right, left right.
या एमएमए के नाम पे पैड पकड़ के खड़े हो गए हैं. 1-2 चिल्लाएगा एकदम से इंटेंसिटी किससे आपके सामने. दैट्स द थिंग विद एमएमए. अब दिक्कत इससे ये हो रहा है कि जो लोग सोचते हैं कि एमएमए इज गोइंग टू बी अ गुड थिंग, उनके दिमाग में परसेप्शन बन चुका है कि एमएमए बस इतना ही है. इट एंड्स अप ओवर है. और उस वजह से ये मार्केट जिसको हम ग्रो करने के लिए पूरे लगे पड़े हैं, वो पीछे और चला जाता है. दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम. लोग बोलते हैं ना कि एमएमए ग्रो नहीं हो रहा है इंडिया में. ठीक है, एथलीट्स का इशू, गवर्नमेंट का इशू, सब कुछ इशू. उससे पहले बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है ये लोग जो उसको ऊपर ले जाने की जगह उसको बर्बाद करने में लगे हुए हैं एट द सेम टाइम. ये
At least they won't go and waste their time and effort learning it from a completely fraud or fake guy.
एग्जैक्टली. सो दैट्स व्हाट वी पीपल डू. मतलब हम मेहनत ही इस चीज़ पे कर रहे हैं. ये दूसरा बहुत बड़ा इशू बन जाता है. इन दैट केस काम कर रहे हैं और कोई उसको पीछे ले जाने में लगा हुआ है.
So Girish, कितने बार national champion हो तुम? How many times national champion?
सो व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू डू दिस कराटे थिंग ना, तो कराटे में भी 2 एसोसिएशन बने हुए हैं और जो आपस में लड़ रहे हैं कि मैं रियल हूँ. कराटे में फॉर्चुनेटली 2 ही थे. तो उस वक्त AIKF को एक्चुअली रिकॉग्निशन मिला हुआ था. तो फॉर्चुनेटली पुराने टाइम में व्हेन आई वाज कंपीटिंग, तो हाँ उसके नेशनल्स को नेशनल्स बोला जा रहा था बिकॉज इंडियन ओलंपिक एसोसिएशन से उसको रिकॉग्निशन समथिंग मिला हुआ था. बाद में पता चलता है वो कोई एक और एसोसिएशन है, उसको मिल गया. अब AIKF फ्रॉड बन चुका है और वो रियल बन चुका है, फिर AIKF ने उस पर केस किया, वो फ्रॉड, तो ये चलता ही रहता है। ऐसे 5 6 7 8 9 10 एसोसिएशन हर स्पोर्ट में बनते जा रहे हैं, लोग नए नए नेशनल्स में जा रहे हैं, नेशनल मेडल लेके आ रहे हैं, एंड बस विनिंग
एक मैंने जो
नेशनल्स।
कॉमन थीम देखा है एसोसिएशंस का इन द मार्शल आर्ट्स और बी इट एनी स्पोर्ट, यूजुअली मोस्ट ऑफ दीज स्पोर्ट्स एसोसिएशंस आर हेडेड बाय पीपल who are probably the worst representation of that martial arts, who probably haven't achieved much. अब उनको लगता है यार इतना टाइम तो इन्वेस्ट कर दिया है स्पोर्ट में, अब क्या करें, तो चलो एक एसोसिएशन खोल लेते हैं, लेट्स
Totally
कलेक्ट
agreed,
मोर
Piyush bhai.
5 people who are like me, who are jobless, who are wasting their time, who are not gaining any recognition. Association खोल लेते हैं, then we'll try to somehow build it up to the next level, and then बाकी fighters को फिर उसमें entangle करेंगे, and then somehow we'll create something which will pay in future.
You'd be surprised to know this. अभी जब once हम लोग ये चीज़ करते हैं तो एक एसोसिएशन है, I won't name the association, उन लोग ने मुझको अप्रोच किया एंड दे वर लाइक हम एक मीटिंग कर रहे हैं, हम किक बॉक्सिंग स्पोर्ट को थोड़ा इम्प्रूव करना चाहते हैं इस लेवल पे। तो आई वाज लाइक चलो ठीक है, अटेंड करते हैं। वहाँ गया मैं, और वहाँ पे इन लोगों ने एक अपना ही एक अलग वर्ल्ड बना रखा है। वहाँ पे एक महासचिव है, एक सेक्रेटरी है। सेक्रेटरी बोल रहा है मैं सबसे बात करता हूँ, मेरे अंदर कोई ईगो नहीं है, और वो उसको आप देख लोगे, यूड बी लाइक गॉड, किस बात की ये बात कर रहा है कि मैं सबसे बात करता हूँ। तो इन्होंने एक अपना ही वर्ल्ड बना रखा है, अपने आप को रैंक कर रखा है, अपनी तारीफ कर लेते हैं, प्योरली नार्सिसिज्म।
The best thing is कि ये लोग एक दूसरे को ऐसा इमेजिनरी पोस्ट देके रैंक देके then they will do all those things कि माला पहना रहे हैं, गुलदस्ता दे रहे हैं,
एब्सोल्युटली,
things like
एब्सोल्युटली। और ये भी बोलते हैं, मैं इस पॉलिटिशियन को जानता हूँ, अगला नेशनल कराएंगे ना, वो पॉलिटिशियन चीफ गेस्ट है।
I really hate getting chief guests unless they are your main sponsors.
एब्सोल्युटली।
You can acknowledge them, but even the sponsors who like to become chief guests, I feel like that's kind of not a good look. Because UFC ko dekho, they have so many big sponsors. Nobody is, yes, they have their logo in the middle of the octagon where they are promoting that logo. But you don't want the sponsors to like come inside the octagon and things.
सब नमस्ते करो इन्हें,
नमस्ते करो उनके लिए, फिर एक
माला
show
पहनाओ।
कराओ, सारे फाइटर्स उनको थैंक यू बोलेंगे आने के पहले. So all those things, I feel
It becomes about him, right? Instead of
it becomes about the person, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Whereas if you are sponsoring an art, it should be about you having that love for the art, or even if it's from a purely business transaction, your company's logo is visible, it's done.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
There's no need for you to get garlanded and things like that. So yeah, interesting fact, ये जो taekwondo का federation था, world federation, it had to change its name. Do you know why, Joe?
Why?
Because its name was World Taekwondo Federation,
Yeah.
जिसका initials आया था WTF. so, so most of the time, whenever it was mentioned, it was like WTF. This happened. WTF is organizing a meeting. So they got so ridiculed that they had to change the WTF to ITF, International Taekwondo Federation.
फॉर्चुनेटली ये फिर भी एक राइट रीजन के लिए हुआ। यू रिमेम्बर WWF हुआ करता था एंड उसको WWE होना पड़ा, जस्ट बिकॉज WWF वाज समथिंग लाइक वर्ल्ड वाइल्ड लाइफ फेडरेशन, तो इसलिए दे हैड टू कम टू
cool battle also for that name.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली, सो इट बिकेम WWE देन। तो एटलीस्ट इनका कोई वैलिड रीजन से तो था।
WWF मैं पहले मतलब एटलीस्ट शुरुआत के 5 साल जब मैंने WWE देखा, मैं WWF ही बोलता था, सारे लोग उसको WWF ही जानते थे.
बचपन.
WWF.
अच्छा टाइम था,
Good times, nostalgia.
Simpler times.
simpler times for sure, easy life.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the fighters that are going to compete. And again, I just keep digressing. I was talking about Nepal Warriors Championship. So they are going to pay the athletes once again, and that's a great initiative. They also have this main card, which is Virender Dhant. He is probably one of the. I'll just cross check, otherwise I might be wrong, and it would be atrocious for me to not name the fighter correctly.
The fight is happening on 16th, no? 16th of this month.
16th of June in 8 days.
Fighters must be on rest now. Reflexes have to be on point, weight has to be on point, and let's go.
Yeah.
Fight week now.
Dheeraj is looking good. I noticed his body changing today.
How did your body change?
Like I noticed he's, I think, cutting weight.
Sorry, my bad. It was Rabindra Dhant. Okay.
Okay.
So this guy is, according to them, like the best in the business in Nepal. And I've seen some of his fights. He looks really, really good. Like very well-rounded fighter, very technically sound. I also sent you because there was a time when he had the opponent change. He was initially going to fight Karan Chauhan of India, but then Karan pulled out due to some injury. So there were talks that Prakhar will probably take that fight. They floated this idea to him. He asked me for the advice, should I take this or not, because it's a very short notice fight, and going against a talented opponent like this, you don't want to ruin your record. It was the same situation which
Makes
Rehan
sense.
was.
Yeah.
So I advised him after checking out Rabin's video not to take the fight because this guy looks really big also.
Better to go on a full camp in that
Yes,
case.
so you can't risk, and it's also disrespectful to the fighter to take such short notice fight without the proper training camp, because then he's like, "Acha, you're underestimating me," things like that. So especially when people are such a good top prospect, you want to give them the due respect by doing your due diligence. So fortunately for Rabindra, he got an opponent. His new opponent is Jason Lindaw. Lingdaw. I know Jason because he's from Team Hillside MMA, and when we did Strangle at Guwahati,
Northeast.
he also competed in tournament. Very fun guy, very likable guy, funny as well. And post the tournament, we had this epic party where I blacked out, and these guys had insane capacity. They just kept drinking throughout the night. They were dancing, and I just don't remember any of that. But apparently, they have some videos of me just snoring in the restaurant while eyes open. So crazy, crazy bunch of guys. So they took the fight. They stepped up. So Jason Lindaw, he is one of the good strikers from the team Hillside because they have very good striking. I have sent him some of the videos for scrimmage and for takedown defense, which his coach requested to me. So I hope he's able to implement some of that successfully in the game and give Rabindra a really tough fight. But yeah, good luck to both of these guys because we'll be there. We'll be getting
Absolutely.
to see it up and close. Nepal's top prospect versus one of the finest from India, Jason. I suppose he also went with Gogoi, who is his training partner and probably, not probably, but the co-owner of Hillside, Team Hillside. So they both went to probably Bali
Okay.
to Soma.
Okay.
Or maybe it was not Soma. I'm just messing up all my facts, guys, but don't mind it. We'll fact check it later. But they went outside and they did this training camp there. So I think he feels very, very comfortable. And that's why he stepped up at short notice to take this fight. So good luck to you, Jason. And Rabindra, we hope that we get to see a good fight, great fight that day. And apart from these two gentlemen, we have three people from our own gym competing. We have Sahil Bura, we have Dheeraj, and we have debutant Akash. So Akash is one of my favorite training partner. He's got great wrestling.
Great grappling, man.
Very good scrambler, does not get tired. He is relatively new to striking game, but I think he's trying to blend it really well to dominate with his grappling. So that should be interesting to watch. Sahil is a veteran of the amateur scene.
Absolutely.
You must have seen he is like very powerful striker.
Amazing striking.
And
Amazing grappling also.
yeah, good grappling, very decent grappling. Very powerful in general. Like I'm 90 kgs and he's what 74, 70 lightweight competitor.
Looks very athletic and intimidating at
And
the
he
same time.
feels as strong as me. Like I feel so underconfident sometimes of my strength when I go with him. So yeah, very very good fighter himself, and I hope that he'll get a first round knockout, or if knockout, he'll take his opponent down and beat him up. The last fight is the Dheeraj. Dheeraj has also been training with us for 4 to 5 months now. When he came, he was very rough, but Rajiv has worked a lot with him in the striking department. In the grappling also, he has done some work, although I would have wanted him to do some more. But unfortunately, he has been injured for a while now. So, not a while, but during the course, initial period, he had some problems in the shoulder.
Okay.
So now he's completely fine, and we are looking forward for a great set of fights that day.
Looking forward.
And it's great that now you have decided to join us very late. So I just put this idea with him ki what do you want, if you want to join us, it will be great. Like we'll have fun there. So
Apart from the fights, what fun things have you guys planned?
good question.
We haven't planned anything, to be honest. It's going to go with the flow.
I have planned some great mountain kush. I'm looking forward for that. So they have this amazing podcast which is called the guy who's organizing it, Divish. He goes on this podcast. God damn, I'm so terrible with names, bro. You have to edit all these long pauses out. So this podcast is called Puff Puff Guff Guff Pass.
Okay.
Which is like the parody of Puff Puff Pass, obviously. So the Guff Guff Pass podcast. Hopefully we'll go on that and get super blazed. That's the plan. And other big plan is I want to go and train with Richard Mons, who also is training in Nepal right now. I had a super fight earlier scheduled with him, but unfortunately it couldn't happen. So that'll be a fun one.
At least you can get some rounds in along with them.
Get some rounds, probably learn some good wrestling, try some of the things that I've been working. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You know, I'd be training along with you if my TT pain is resolved by then.
Keep in. Stop saying that. This guy is like yesterday also we were discussing, he loves man moves.
Yeah, our first episode as well, it started with man moves.
So man, that's how it has. Like, if you don't have a something, obviously you're gonna like that thing. So I just have a flat chest. Look at it.
You don't have a vagina, but you don't want a vagina, right?
Why won't I? Not. I don't want it, but I want it.
Okay. In that sense, it makes sense. Yeah. But not on your body, right?
Absolutely.
So you don't want man boobs on your body, right?
Not on my body.
Okay. So on other people's body.
That would make me look good, no? Yeah.
I see.
Okay. In comparison, he wants to be a better looking person.
Since if you're not good looking, make other people look worse. That's how it goes.
Cerebral.
So then you automatically look good.
Is that why you sit with me like? Because this guy was shining in the last episode and my face was completely dark. That was your fault. Hopefully it's better.
That's nature's gift.
Better this time, hopefully. We need more
So
lights.
apart from the matches,
Yeah.
any food excitement for Nepal? It's known for its food.
Yeah.
चाय मिलेगा क्या उधर?
Oh, you're a vegetarian.
चाय हटा वेजिटेरियन लोगों से सब बात मत पूछा करो फूड का हमें जाके वहाँ पे बस अपना बेसिक मिल जाए खाना वही बहुत
पनीर और दाल.
Nepal makes this thing called dal bhat, which is
दाल भात तो बचपन से खा रहे यार कुछ ऐसा
अब vegetarian में क्या बोलूं?
I guess मिल जाएगा. Last time I have been to that place, मतलब obviously border ही cross किया था, थोड़ा आगे भी गए थे, तो था वहाँ पे vegetarian खाना वगैरह है.
मिल जाएगा because yeah
अपने ही लोग हैं.
नहीं लोग they will be very mad at you for saying that. They're like no we are independent.
नहीं वो ठीक है, but अपने ही लोग हैं, सब अपने ही हैं.
पूरे एशिया में सब एशिया नहीं इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट में सब अपने ही हैं right?
Peace guys, peace.
They do use our currency though.
Do they? It's like Indian rupees?
No, you can use both. So the taxi you
That is also true.
pay them with rupees or their own stuff.
Okay, nice. So Girish, how have you been after the last podcast that we have had? क्या चल रहा है life में या training में?
So Piyush bhai, more when it comes to the training part, हाँ training ही ज़्यादा busy रहा हूँ मैं इस time पे. Last time I did this half guard thing along with you, and मेरा गोल यही था कि जब भी मैं यहाँ आता हूँ कुछ ले जाऊँ यहाँ से और उसके ऊपर मैं काम करूँ. So I was working on it, बहुत अच्छे से काम भी किया, सब कुछ किया. Then I came back, I thought कि इस बार मैं आराम से पास कर
What
लूँगा.
specifically were you working? Because इस बार भी मेरे को similar ही लगा जो पिछली बार try कर रहा था.
ये गेट खोलो मैं बजा रहा हूँ यहाँ से. That's the sad part of it, guys. That's the sad part. But I'll still मैं अभी भी इस पे काम करता रहूँगा and I'm gonna come back strong again.
I think the only way you'll beat me is you gain weight, bro. 70 kg is not gonna cut it.
Still, I believe technique always beats size.
It doesn't. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie that you have been sold and you have lapped it up.
At least I'll be believing it क्योंकि size तो बढ़ने नहीं वाला भाई body का. So नहीं मैं यही मानूंगा और मैं और टेक्निक पे काम करने वाला हूँ. Obviously दिक्कत ये है कि इनके पास साइज भी और इनके पास उससे ज़्यादा टेक्निक भी है. तो दोनों चीज़ें तो मैं कितना टेक्निक कवर करूँ वो पहुंचेगा भी तो मैक्सिमम बराबर पहुंच सकता है, लेकिन साइड से एडवांटेज तो हो ही गया।
पढ़ भी रहा था गॉर्डन से ना।
हाँ, और इनको ऑलरेडी आता है, दैट्स हाउ इट गोस।
What was that wrong? Reading Gordon?
हाँ
आपने कभी Gordon का क्या बोला?
नहीं, मैं ये वही चीज पढ़ रहा है जो मैंने पहले से पढ़ा हुआ है, सो
अच्छा,
इट
अच्छा,
फील्स
अच्छा।
लाइक कि वही सारे मूव्स कर रहा है जो मुझे
अच्छा,
आई कैन
अच्छा,
एंटिसिपेट।
आई थिंक मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा डिकोड भी कर रहा हूँ, और मेरा मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव एक ये भी रहता है, लाइक व्हेन आई रोल विद हिम, आई वांट माय जिजुत्सु टू बी समथिंग जो थोड़ा बड़े लोगों पे आराम से अप्लाई हो। तो अगर मैं एटलीस्ट इनके साथ अगर थोड़ा बहुत रह भी पा रहा हूँ उस केस में, तो अगर कोई बंदा आता है हु इज एक्चुअली ऑफ माय स्किल लेवल या मुझसे नीचे, तो इट्स इजी नाउ फॉर मी टू हैंडल दैट पर्सन। सो दैट्स द एसेंस ऑफ जिजुत्सु, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, एंड ट्रेनिंग विद अ बेटर पर्सन, दैट्स हाउ इट
When you
गोस।
train in this gym, how much percentage of your moves are like basic versus like, you know, glitches and some fancy things we do for getting the joke?
पीयूष भाई इज मोर ऑफ अ गॉर्डन फॉर मी। तो इनका बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ है ना, बहुत ज़्यादा सिस्टमैटिक है, बहुत कम फैंसी मूव्स है। इट्स ऑल सिस्टमैटिक, इट्स ऑल प्रेशर, इट्स ऑल राइट वेट प्लेसमेंट, सो दैट्स हाउ इट गोज।
I'm not a big fan of fancy move and fancy movement because initially जब मैंने शुरू किया था I was like a big guy. और big guys का move यही होता है, basic की move रैप करो, रेंज करो, ये सब. But when I became a little bit smaller, I gained that a little bit of athleticism where I could move really well. So passing वासिंग ये सब अच्छा हो गया मैंने वाला राइज। And then when I again regained weight to move to a different weight class, that's a sophisticated way of saying I got fat. So उस process में I just realized कि हाँ, the best game is the tight game, the classic game which worked for Roger Gracie, which worked for Gordon Ryan. But the thing with that is many people take this to an extreme where they are like नहीं अब बस basic move है तो इसका मतलब मैं यही कर रहा हूँ. I think you have to try everything. And I have tried almost all styles where I've been trying to play flashy. I have those submissions, Tariqo Prada, ऐसा कोई भी fancy twister roll ये सब. I can do all of that, but when it comes to deal with the business, you have to like have like really tight game where you're stifling your opponents. So, and that helps when you are not super athletic as compared to the other person. If the person is explosive, athletic, like a Nicky Rod kind of person, a wrestler. So against those people, you can't be more better physical specimen than them. So in order to beat those people, you have to be more intelligent first of all in understanding of your positions versus them. And second, you have to like negate their movement. So that will make it seem, oh, you are better than them or you are faster than them, things like that.
Makes sense.
So again, all of Gordon's philosophy, I'm just regurgitating the same shit that he says. So yeah, good question. क्या था question वैसे?
Means when you
When I
आपका
roll
जिजुत्सु
moves
fancy
like
है
that
या?
नहीं होता. I think right now I'm just focusing on just passing. Guard pass fancy होता है मेरा थोड़ा. I try to float and high step, back step, all of this.
आई थिंक रेसलिंग भी आपका काफी फैंसी आ जाता है कभी कभी, like good these Tayotoshis and stuff, associating them and stuff,
Wrestling
no?
में throws तो fancy उसको कहोगे या basic कहोगे? I don't know.
लगते अच्छे हैं ना, let's put them into the fancy category, देखने में मजा आता है।
What is fancy for me is doing shit which if you do 3 moves then you reach the position which you would reach like directly. अब तेरे को half guard आना है, अब तू 4 बार इधर से घूम के उधर
Fluke.
या 10 प्लांट का जितना मूव उठा के देख लो, सारा फैंसी मूव है बिना मतलब का. So all of those things I would consider is you should try it, you should definitely experiment with it. There are places where you'll surprise people with it. So that's why learning everything is good.
Makes sense.
So be well rounded is my
do
advice.
you evolve in your own moves, like you've done a move, you rolled a bit and then you're like, you know what, इसके लिए मैं ऐसा कर देता हूँ. Like do you do that?
100%. What you're talking is troubleshooting. So
Okay.
you should always troubleshoot, especially when you're trying to learn a new move or a new system. और एक चीज़ काम नहीं करता है और क्यों नहीं काम कर रहा है, तो you have to just go back. इसलिए हम लोग क्लास के बाद we do that Q&A session as well. I've been posting some clips also from them. नाम भी अच्छा था,
Tails, it was a really
They
good name.
ask,
They
everyone
ask and
learns.
everyone learns. Yes.
Follow that guys. So उसमें यही कोशिश होता है कि when you're trying to do a move, especially when you're a beginner, you'll fail due to very obvious reasons. कि यहाँ पे बस मैं एक hip skip नहीं कर पाया, इस वजह से मेरा hips नहीं उठा and I couldn't recover guard like this. So these small troubleshooting which would take you a long time to figure it out otherwise if you did not have any help. Because I've been there, I've seen that happen and I know why exactly the mechanics of that move is failing. I can help you like correct that much more faster. So it saves you time basically.
Small nitty-gritties,
And I think
in
that's the
short.
job as a coach as
As a
well,
coach.
which you would attest.
Absolutely, I would. Yes, that's how it goes when it comes to the coaching program. Because there are people who get those nitty-gritties very easily with their brain and stuff like that. Maybe for the love of the sport or something like that. And then there are people who want to do it, but they do not focus on those small nitty-gritties. So coaches can help you out with that. Those small details that makes a very big difference in this case.
और
So that's how it
लोग
goes.
जब एक्सपीरियंस कहते हैं ना कि आई एम मोर एक्सपीरियंस, तो एक्सपीरियंस का मतलब यही होता है कि you have seen a lot more of these positions, so you know कि what are the most common responses and then you have solutions for them. उसका मतलब ये नहीं होता कि मैं 10 साल तक बस
Exactly, that's the unfortunate part of everything. Like in industries, in corporates and everything. तुम्हें कितना टाइम हुआ? मुझे 10 साल हो गया इस इंडस्ट्री में. तुमने किया क्या? What
Exactly.
what amount of knowledge have you gained when you were there for 10 years, something like that?
If you're going for 10 years to a job and doing the same mundane shit over and over, and where you haven't expanded your skill set or you haven't encountered more problems, then basically you've wasted your 10 years of experience.
Absolutely. ये जुजुत्सु में भी बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. Like लोग similar moves के साथ में daily उन्हीं moves के साथ hard rolls कर रहे हैं and stuff. So they are not experimenting and उस वजह से जुजुत्सु का भी evolve होता नहीं है in that case.
Yeah, and those people are like, we train so hard, we train like 6 hours per day and we have been doing it for 7 years, and then you see their game and it's like bullshit.
So it's all mindset, Piyush bhai, I guess.
that's-
The right mindset.
एक जब मैं पाइथन एक प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज है, वैसे पता होगा.
I know it.
उसमें एक बहुत ही फेमस बुक है, लर्न पाइथन द हार्ड वे. सो उस बुक में उसने इस थियरी को बेसिकली अप्लाई किया है कि इफ यू आर अ बिगिनर, you want to and if you have no coding experience, then the only way to learn Python is that you can learn it the hard way by just doing hard shit, like just doing repetitive shit, not even hard, repetitive shit. But in jiu-jitsu, if you try to apply the same thing where you're just doing it by repetition, initially it works 100%. It will give you all those pathways, it will cement those neurological flows in your brain. Like at some point you have to start using your own brain, your own IQ to like understand कि अच्छा यहाँ पे ये हो रहा था, फिर अब ये करना है, now I should plan. So planning, I think, beats everything. If you plan how your training session goes or how you want your training session to be, what specific thing that you, हम लोग ये striking में भी बात कर रहे थे, I think we should talk about that. कि a lot of people in their gym just go to do striking classes and then they just do all out sparring.
So what my observation is, जैसे jujutsu में we have seen it, this positional sparring thing, कि आपका गोल नहीं है जिम में आके that you got to win this sparring. आप अपना positional spar करते हो, position गया, आप वापस reset करोगे same position में और आप उसी position में बार बार काम करोगे. This thing is missing from striking. There are coaches outside India who ये चीज़ follow करते हैं, but I'm not sure about India. हर किसी को मैं जानता नहीं, that's the case. बट अगर हम उसमें भी पोजिशनल स्पारिंग करें, सबसे पहला डैमेज से बचाते हैं हम एथलीट को, एंड सेकंड जो मेन पर्पस था उस दिन आने का, उसका क्या था, ट्रेनिंग करना और स्किल डेवलप करना, वो फुलफिल होता है इन दैट केस. सो उसके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं, एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल जो हम लोग कर रहे थे एंड वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट, कि आप जब कोई बंदा आता है उसको जैब क्रॉस सिखाते हो, राइट, आपने जैब क्रॉस सिखा दिया, अब आप उसको सिखाओ उससे कैसे इवेट करना उस जैब क्रॉस से. आपने इवेजन सिखा दिया, उसको ब्लॉक करना सिखा दिया, अब उसे एक काउंटर सिखा दो उस जैब क्रॉस का. 3 चीज़ हो गई. अब उनको रादर देन गो फुल फ्लेज स्पारिंग एंड स्टफ, यही चीज़ करने को बोलो. तुमको जैब क्रॉस अलाउड है, तुम्हें इवेड करना अलाउड है और तुम्हें काउंटर करना अलाउड है. अगर अब आप उस स्पारिंग को इसी फॉर्मेट में करते हो 3 राउंड तक, सबसे पहले हेड किक्स नहीं जा रहे, कोई टेंशन नहीं है, आप आराम से उसे ट्रेन कर पा रहे हो, और अब उस पोजीशन में आपने एक स्किल डेवलप कर लिया, आपके दिमाग ने उस चीज़ को पकड़ लिया है कि दिस इज़ हाउ इट हैज़ टू बी डन, अगर आप उसको मीनिंगफुली करते हो तो. एंड नाउ माई फ्रेंड, यू हैव डेवलप्ड अ स्किल जो आप रियलिटी में वो स्पारिंग करके कभी नहीं करते. उस स्पारिंग में बल्कि इट्स जस्ट अ इमोशनल राइड फॉर यू. दूसरा बंदा स्किल्ड है और अब वो मुझे मारने वाला है एंड यू आर नाउ स्ट्रगलिंग विद योर ओन डीमंस. दैट्स हाउ इट गोस.
Hook, cross, jab, uppercut, सब कुछ आ रहा है. So now you're so confused. It's like मुझे अपना बैक कंट्रोल इम्प्रूव करना है, लेकिन मैं बैक पोजीशन में कभी पहुंच नहीं पा रहा हूँ क्योंकि लोग मेरे को नी ऑन बेली करके बैठे हुए हैं.
Yes.
So how will you improve your back control, your back position if you don't do positional starting from the back?
And the worst part about this is Piyush bhai, like in grappling, अगर कोई ऐसा करता है, like there are people of different mindset, तो कुछ लोग ऐसे होंगे जो आपके साथ अपना सारा मूव ट्राई करके आपको तंग करेंगे, बट इट्स ओके इन ग्रैपलिंग, क्योंकि आप इतना डैमेज नहीं लेने वाले हो. बट स्ट्राइकिंग में दे आर पीपल दीज पीस ऑफ शिट्स जो आपको उन्हीं स्ट्राइक से जोर जोर से मारेंगे, दिल फ्लॉन्ट, वो अपने सारे मूव्स फुल इंटेंसिटी से आप पे ट्राई करेंगे, एंड नाउ आपकी बॉडी इज इन बिग टाइम jeopardy in that case. And there are these piece of shit. I've been through this business, so I understand this.
Yeah, I've seen this in almost every gyms. Like people have way less control when it comes to sparring and striking.
बड़ा मजा लेते हैं वो ये लोग ये करते हुए, जब when they try to hit you, and especially beginners के साथ भी करते हैं ये लोग इस तरह से.
That's bullshit. So, एक और thing which I'll add here is what it saves you in striking if you follow this kind of module is that ego battle also.
Yeah.
Like in striking, if you two are fighting and if you are now just connecting and overwhelming me, तो मेरा ego hurt हो जाता है कि अरे यार मैं बहुत ज़्यादा पिट रहा हूँ और मेरा मुंह से काम नहीं कर रहा है. So you're disappointed and your ego is getting bruised, everything. Whereas when you are grappling, आपका ego होता है bruised, but इतना नहीं होता जितना कि when you are getting punched in your nose.
Makes sense.
Right?
Makes sense.
So that way, as you said, damage thing is like 100% on point. It saves you from a lot of unnecessary damage.
Sometimes I totally agree with your point. Sometimes there are people जो unskilled होंगे और उनको एकदम से shot लगा, वो उनका intention ये था काश ये sparring प्यार से हो रहा था, but shot लगा and now they're all in. मार अब तू, let's go.
फिर वो primal instinct बाहर आया था.
Yes. So
Alright,
that's how
guys,
it goes.
So I think that was a great topic to talk about, and I think in Indian MMA people need to wake up and start using these smart ways to train. अगर आप सुन रहे हो ये podcast या आप अगर इस तरह से train करते हो या आपके gym में ऐसे training नहीं होती, it's fine. You can just find a training partner who you feel safe and comfortable with. Yeah, you can tell them, guys, this is how I want to train. And if you go beyond this intensity, I'll just stop sparring there and then we will resume it again only once you commit that ये आगे से नहीं होगा. Because to check, क्योंकि वो होता वही कह रहा है ना कि flow में फिर वो आगे बढ़ते आता है. 10 इधर से शुरू होता है, फिर 20, फिर 30, फिर 40. और ऐसा grappling मैंने बहुत बार देखा है. This is a famous meme in grappling कि let's go light and then it goes
happens like
people
anything.
are taking each other heads off.
Sparring के बाद अगर आपके सर में दर्द है, मैन आपने कुछ गड़बड़ कर लिया है. I'm telling you that. जस्ट दैट्स अ साइन कि अब आपको कुछ ना कुछ चेंज करना चाहिए. आफ्टर स्पारिंग अगर आपके सर में दर्द हो रहा है, पंचेस पड़े हैं एंड 2-3 दिन तक वो दर्द रह रहा है, तो जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दिस कि यू शुड स्टॉप नाउ एंड टेक अ नोट ऑफ इट, एंड इन चीज़ों को चेंज करने का वक्त आ गया है.
Yeah. In striking, what do you think about coaches who try to enforce people who go hard rather than telling them to chill out? क्योंकि striking में if you start enforcing, grappling में चलो ठीक है, the worst that will happen is you just choke them a few times and they'll just understand. You put pressure, they'll just understand. But in striking, when you try to enforce someone, you're basically beating him up where he's taking like life-altering damage at some point.
I think it's more of a confidence thing that these coaches try to put into your system. So I would say rather than making them spar hard every day or every week, you can keep a day for that. And at the same time, when you are making them spar hard in that month or in 2 months or 3 months, maybe simulating a tournament, make sure that they are wearing protective equipments on their head. They have got good elbow pads, good foamed gloves to do that, because the ultimate objective was to develop skill and not just to make them beat other person. So these are things that are very important. And when it comes to confidence, the other thing that these people can do is, rather than putting them straight away into a MMA match, why don't you make them fight some tournaments like jiu-jitsu tournaments first, maybe a boxing tournament rather than a kickboxing tournament. So this way they can get that kind of motivation into them, that instinct into them of competition, and then it's going to be easy for them to inculcate themselves into that environment or acclimatize themselves into that environment. That's how it can be.
So Girish, I want to talk to you about this thing which is very prevalent in martial arts gym, especially gyms which are hardcore fighting gyms that they call themselves. वहाँ पे people try to enforce you, okay? चलो enforcing I understand when it happens in grappling, because grappling में at the end of the day you're not taking damage. The only damage that is taken is on your ego. But when you try enforcing students in a striking context where you're trying to beat him up just because he was out of line, or maybe he was naive enough to be throwing hard punches, So आपको क्या लगता है? What do you feel? Is that a right way to teach them, or is there a better way that you can communicate the same thing with the person, as we were talking about safe training methods?
You're talking about when a coach does this kind of
कोच
stuff,
या
no?
कोई मान लो एक इन्फोर्सर होता है ना जिम का साइन की, ब्रो तू जाके देख इसको, ये बहुत ही तेज बन रहा है,
Makes
ऐसा
sense,
बन रहा है.
makes sense. I think that's one thing that can stop a person from loving martial art and never ever going back to any martial art gym. Because now you are actually hampering his personality, his brain, his upbringing, each and everything by doing that, by enforcing them
Yeah,
in
you're
that
giving
way.
him real trauma.
Real trauma. That's how trauma gets in comes into your system. I have been through that system also in karate, so I
क्या
understand
हुआ था?
this. So मेरे साथ में सीन ऐसा था that आई ऑलवेज लव मार्शल आर्ट, बट देन एक लव एक अलग चीज़ है, एंड आप एक टाइम तो होता ही है इस फ्रेम का, लाइक कितना आप टाइम पुट ऑन करोगे, दैट्स हाउ यू डेवलप स्किल्स. ऐसा नहीं कि अगर मैंने 1 साल काम किया तो मैं 5 साल पुराने बंदे को इजीली बीट कर सकता हूँ. सो माई कोच वॉज समवॉट लाइक वो ही ऑलवेज वॉन्टेड कि मेरा जो स्टूडेंट है, मेन स्टूडेंट, द ब्लैक बेल्ट आई वॉज टॉकिंग अबाउट इन द लास्ट पॉडकास्ट ऑल्सो, ये मारे इनको क्योंकि ये उभर रहे हैं. सो आई डोंट, इनको पता रहे कि हम पहले कैसे थे एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. उनकी मेंटालिटी समथिंग लाइक दैट.
Keep them in check.
So there was this piece of again shit. So ये जब भी आता था and he used to hit very hard and coach was okay with it. जबकि कराटे में there has to be this pull back thing into that. But he was hitting very hard and उसके बाद they are like sorry guys. ये इससे तो बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे को मार लो फिर सॉरी बोलो. ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, लगी तो नहीं. So he used to hit like anything and suddenly पीयूष भाई एक टाइम ऐसा आने लगा, and I'm being very candid and very honest about it, and there are people who know about this thing. मैंने कईयों को बताया है. एक टाइम ऐसा आने लगा कि मैं ये देखता था ये किस दिन नहीं आ रहा है, and I'm going to go to the gym at that day.
Damn. That's sad.
So पहली चीज़ ये हुई, and now the surprising part, the most valid part, रोना मत आप लोग प्लीज़. So I was into this karate dojo उस दिन, एंड मैं ये आया नहीं, मुझको सुनने में ऐसा आएगा नहीं. मैं इससे फ़ोन, इससे मेरी बात होती थी टेक्स्ट पे, तो मैं ऐसे तो नहीं बोलूँगा यार तू आना मत है समथिंग दैट. तो मैं बस पता कर लेता किस दिन, तो मैं पहुँच गया और ये आ गया उस दिन. एंड उस दिन था स्पारिंग डे. सो आई वेंट इन टू दिस चेंजिंग रूम.
Stomach ache.
आई कॉल्ड माई मदर. मैंने बोला कि प्लीज़ कॉल माई सेंसेई एंड टेल हिम कि नाना जी, माई ग्रैंडफादर की थोड़ी तबीयत ख़राब है, सो शी वांट्स मी टू कम आउट, मतलब आ जाए वहाँ
So
पे.
you can't even exit the gym without like a legit permission.
Yes, yes. So that was the case. So कराटे में तो guys I cannot tell you. So did my mother did that, and उसके बाद सेम चीज़ हुई, मैं निकल गया वहाँ से. घर गया तो I realized because I just wanted to be a martial artist, and I बोला यार ऐसे काम नहीं चलेगा, या तो फिर करो ही मत. सो ये माइंडसेट हर किसी के पास आता नहीं है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. लोग छोड़ देंगे उस केस में. सो या तो करो मत, करना है तो फिर नाउ यू वुड हैव टू गो फुल फ्लेश. तो पता नहीं, कराटे में बहुत ज़्यादा फास्ट ट्विच ट्रेनिंग और ये सब मैंने ज़बरदस्ती बहुत ज़्यादा और ज़्यादा ट्रेन करना चालू किया, फास्ट ट्विच करना चालू किया. इवेंचुअली 2-3 महीने में आई केम टू अ पेस जब मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा इसमें माइंडसेट इन्वेस्ट किया. इट केम एज अ मोटिवेशन फॉर मी, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. उसको मैंने एज अ मोटिवेशन यूज़ किया, एंड वो डे आया, देन वी वर स्पारिंग अगेन एंड आई गॉट हिज नंबर दैट डे. उसके बाद से आई ऑलवेज हैड हिज नंबर. I have got a sparring footage maybe along with me.
Respect also.
His respect also.
What do you mean?
उसके बाद उस बंदे ने कभी भी, जब एक बार once you bully a bully, no, ये लोग वापस they never try to bully you in that case. These enforcers, इनका, so what I mean to say is इन enforcers के लिए मेरे पास एक message है that there is always a person जो तुमसे better बैठा हुआ है. Always there is a person. So try and respect जो लोग आपके पास आ रहे हैं सीखने के लिए, rather than putting these traumas into their head and making them somewhat like you. So don't do that.
Because just to cut you off, maybe unka thinking hai कि only the weak people will leave after this kind of treatment. Only the strong ones will survive.
Cobra Kai guys, eh?
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the majority of people who will leave because of this, you're denying them of a beautiful experience of martial arts. Maybe they had some goals, they had some personal achievements that they wanted to get through the martial arts, and now they cannot because they had this traumatic experiences. So just because you want to create one good fighter or person through that kind of pressure, you cannot be just neglecting hundreds of people.
Makes sense. So same चीज़ हम लोग ने भी किया था इस चीज़ को. Like we have a competition team जिनके साथ में things can go a little hard. उनको बोला जा सकता है, like if they are late and stuff, तो उनको बोला जाएगा in that case. As don't be a competition team, आप normal लोगों के साथ आओ, just enjoy your martial art journey, martial art करो. सो आई गेस आपको अगर इतना ही एम्बिशन है टू क्रिएट अ कंपटीशन टीम एंड स्टफ, सो आप एक अलग सेगमेंट रख सकते हो अपने साथ में इन दैट केस, बट एटलीस्ट उनको भी इन्फोर्स मत करो। एंड सेकेंड, और आप एक अपना अलग सेगमेंट रखो ऑफ पीपल हु जस्ट वांट टू एंजॉय मार्शल आर्ट्स बिकॉज यू हैव गॉट दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू ट्रेन देम, आपने नॉलेज एक्वायर किया है, तो उनको उस तरह से सिखाओ कि दैट दे एंजॉय द जर्नी रादर देन उनके लिए वो डेली आके वो अपना काम करके बेचारे सीखने के लिए आ रहे हैं कुछ कि कुछ अच्छा होगा, और वहाँ जाके मेरे जैसे लोग डरे पड़े हैं कि अरे यहाँ भी मारेगा
कल
यार।
सुबह में ऑफिस कोडिंग करते टाइम कुछ याद नहीं आ रहा है बिकॉज़ हेड पेन।
और पता है दर्द से ज़्यादा पीयूष भाई इट्स योर ईगो जिसको लगता है ये सब, दैट यू कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग, इट्स टोटली बुलिंग। Bullying affects you.
Everybody doesn't come for that reason. Like when I started, it was a spiritual reason. You know, it was not about fighting at all. Then थोड़ा आया कि नहीं अच्छा बनो, फिर अब तो
ये एक चीज़ ये भी होता है व्हेन यू फॉल इनटू योर ओन हाइप, जब धीरे धीरे आपका जिम थोड़ा अच्छा करने लगता है ना, तो आपको लगता है अब मैं बेस्ट हूँ और सबको यही करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज ये मेरा प्रोसेस है। ये सबके साथ हो सकता है, दिस इज़ अ ह्यूमन नेचर। अगर आप उस साइकिल में पड़ चुके हो गाइज, यू वेक अप, वापस अपनी आत्मा को बाहर निकालो और देखो खुद को क्या कर रहे हो तुम इन दैट केस।
You feel like कि अच्छा मेरे को वो
Invincible.
फॉर्मूला मिल गया है,
Yes.
now it's my way or the highway, दूसरे
Yep.
लोगों का अप्रोच कभी काम कर ही नहीं सकता।
Yep.
That's true. You have to always take a step back. Because after, और ये एक चीज़ और मैंने देखा जो बहुत कॉमन होता है कि when you are in that position of authority or the highest authority, being the best guy in the gym probably in this random ass martial arts that you're doing, people start to respect you because you are their coach now. People look up to you for guidance. Unfortunately, people look up to you for guidance other than the martial arts as well, just in life कि हाँ ये वो हो रहा है, and then these coaches start to assume these roles of advising people into everything. अच्छा तू ये कर, तू
Every
वो
part of their
कर.
life, you mean, no?
Yes, they start encroaching upon other areas of their life to a point कि अच्छा weekend को क्या कर रहा है, let's go together, let's hang out together. Basically, your life starts circling around
Around
these
that
coaches.
person, right?
So you give them so much power that they start to relish in that power, and when they feel like that power is getting challenged or taken away in some sort of way, or they are not getting it from other people, they will start be vindictive towards those people.
yes.
So ये बहुत ही common phenomena है in martial arts in general, and I'm not pointing out to one or two people. It's just very common in karate, very common in jiu-jitsu. You'll see so many people, and this is what we call as toxic gym culture. So the quicker you identify these things happening around you, the better it is. And the best thing is just move out, find a different gym. You don't have a good gym nearby, unfortunately for you. You will have to quit the martial arts because it's better than going there and taking all those bullshit. Because think about the reason why you joined in the first place. You wanted to do something which would make you feel happy, make you feel good about yourself,
Help you in your mental.
help you in your
Absolutely.
mental space. And if it's just adding more liabilities to you, like I think you should just take a step back and be like, okay, I need to either find a better place, or if I cannot, because in place like India, it's very difficult to find gyms. And the other problem is that these people have good friendship with all other gym owners, so they can also spread words about you. They can. This happens a lot even in US where there are like hundreds and hundreds of gym everywhere where you go. So yeah, this is something which is a problem in martial arts in general, I feel.
I think as a coach also, not just the students, that they should realize, even as a coach, if you can realize it at a later point or something, it's better if you can create that change because you have been given this privilege of teaching these kids, and if you can change that structure of a thing and let your ego out of that position, I think you can create some good community, a community that people can rely on, they love to be with.
By just helping other people, I think that's
Exactly.
the best one.
Exactly. Martial art does that. You every person who has done it and is at a level who is teaching it right now perfectly, I would say they have felt this part, that how martial art changes you.
How has it been changing you, Joe?
Body, and that's number one.
You're
Confidence, number
Feeling
two.
good about your body?
Oh yes,
Have you lost weight?
I lost weight.
How much?
I think when I started it, I was 75,
Huh.
76. I think now I'm 74.
2 kgs.
Yeah,
Nice.
improvements. But I've gained a lot more agility, a lot more things.
But
Here's the story I will tell you. I had an accident where I injured my
few
ankle,
years
right? And this was I've had multiple accidents. I noticed this when I got back in my scooter and went. I was thinking about it. I said, why was I so normal? Why was I so calm? Apparently, this is the first time the accident happened I was not in a panic mood. I was able to notice all the 5 people around me because होता है ना public लड़ने लग जाती है. They were about to hit the auto guy. I could notice the fakeness in their anger. Yeah, मेरा गुस्सा नहीं निकाल रहा है, अपना गुस्सा निकाल रहा है. I could notice the fear in the guy's eyes, and I could notice the pointlessness in me trying to.
लग गया है तो क्या मार के क्या
ये भी मेरे को मारना नहीं चाहता था, हो गया. Right. And I was calm. I didn't need any vendetta. I didn't need to, my ego didn't need anything.
aggression मेरे अंदर.
And I could say, okay, fine, let's go. And later on, I realized, why was I so comfortable? I realized it was this. Also I realized, अगर 5 minute का round है, 5 minutes you're constantly aware, right? All your 5 senses are aware. That is a very good activity. Meditation यही तो कह रहे हैं therapist की, कुछ मत करो, सांस लो. Be aware.
Be aware, be in the present.
So technically that is happening, and if you do that 5 times, 4 rounds, do that every day, that's 20 minutes of being aware. That's way beyond just a physical activity.
Just let that feeling out of winning. Now it becomes a meditation, to be honest.
So that is
जब तक वो feeling है तब तक meditation नहीं है, बस एक चीज ये है.
yes. So मेरे को तो मजा आता है for all those reasons as well, which I never really thought, right? In my head this is just a physical thing. अपने mind में वो करूँगा and then I focus on other things.
एक बहुत ही common saying है with this example, like if you don't want to fight in life, learn how to fight.
That's true. Because fighting is very ugly. Like what do you gain out of fighting? Let's just break it down. Fighting से क्या? What do you prove? You prove that you are better than this other human being. Like there are millions and millions, billions of people on earth. Are you going to fight each and every one of them to prove that you are better than them?
I think you just want to enforce that guy. In that case,
I mean, it's just again, it all comes down to your belief, self-actualization, and how aware are you as you
that's
said.
true.
Because if you are self-aware, you know कि ठीक है इससे कोई फायदा नहीं होना, इससे I'm not getting anywhere else in life. So you'll know that all of these activities are pointless and people...
You lose the need to win.
When there's this disagreement between two people, you just want to fight that person. But the reality is, even when you win that fight, that person is still not going to agree with what you were saying.
Even if you have a debate with people like that, where first of all debates are pointless, right? Because if people want to believe something, they'll believe something. Doesn't matter how many facts you present them with. आजकल के modern day और information में तो सबके पास एक legit counterpoint भी होता है. So if the conspiracy theorists have so many believers, it means that anything that you say is not going to be valid.
True that is.
So yeah, I think it's completely pointless. Just live your life, be safe, probably. Respect other people. एक Gordon Man वाली बात कर रहा हूँ.
Let's make a t-shirt of it.
Fear none, respect everyone. So yeah, that's a good life philosophy to live by. Anyways, let's move on. और क्या चीज़ हुआ अभी इस बीच में जब हम last बार हमने podcast किया था. This big thing happened. Road to UFC, where 2 martial artists from India, 2 fighters from India represented India at this stage, where if they won the fight, they would move on into this tournament. We all know about Anshul Jubli. This guy won the tournament, is going to represent India in the UFC. So this is a very prestigious event where people from all of Southeast Asia and Asian countries come to test their skill level, which country is doing how well in martial arts, and whoever is doing better, they go on to represent them in the UFC. So we had Sumit Kumar, and we had what was the name of the guy? Rana Rudra Pratap Singh.
Right.
So we had these 2 guys. Did you see those fights?
I have.
What was your evaluation of the fights?
I would say this guy Sumit, he was looking good with wrestling, but apart of the wrestling, he had nothing. He didn't have this ability to keep that guy down. He didn't have ability to... striking was awful.
Atrocious.
Man. I mean, you cannot even be allowed to be in the atmosphere of UFC if you have got that sort of striking, to be honest. So
it was looking like how those...
He even did this Baba Ramdev takedown. You've seen this Baba Ramdev did this wrestling gimmick. He called in some Russian or something. I don't even remember. So they have this grip on your body when you're giving them front headlock, and they have this overwrap grip. So Baba Ramdev went back hold these two hands, and just Iranian lifted the guy
Oh,
back.
yeah, I
And
saw
this
that,
is
I
the
saw
same
that.
thing this guy did. So I'd
So that
suggest
where you wrap the hand like this and then you just sit back.
Joe, just find the clip of Baba Ramdev and this guy and just post it up over there.
I remember that.
Baba Ramdev takedown. He did that. So that's something which you learn, I guess, in desi wrestling kind of stuff, which he applied it. Kudos to that. Kudos to the guy. But the striking, man, God, how can you even be in that atmosphere of UFC with that sort of striking? That's my question. And this second guy, Piyush bhai, I still remember we were sitting in.
Let's just break this down first, then we'll
Yeah.
move to the second one because he was also fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Sumit Kumar, you were very on point. Uska wrestling ठीक ठाक था. He entered few takedowns, got also few takedowns. But as we all know, MMA is not about just wrestling. It's literally called mixed martial arts. That means you have to know how to keep people down.
Yeah.
The objective is to not just take people down, but to keep them down, get eventual control, submission, or the TKO.
Right.
And this guy seems to completely miss the point. I don't know where he was training or how, because I've seen a lot of Indian local fanboys of him who show his videos, his pictures, that he has pictures with Dana White, he has pictures with DC and AK guys because he trains with them. I don't think AK trains like this. I don't know what he was doing, or maybe they were scamming him or something, because AK has legit wrestling, they have legit MMA, they have all those moves which are applicable in an MMA scenario. But this guy did not have the post takedown control at all. The Korean guy or Japanese guy, I don't know. He was able to bounce back up really fast, defend all his takedowns. Again, the principle of scrimmage wrestling which we saw there. And we all saw that comical leaping front kick that he tried to do, the Spartan kick.
Yes.
So yeah,
Someone created a good meme also of that, no? उड़ता ही फिरूं हवाओं में कहीं.
we have to include that. The music was top level.
Yep.
There's this page called Go MMA YT on Indian MMA scene. That created that meme, I guess.
Okay.
And it looked really, really funny. So yeah, insanely mediocre performance. I think he has to go back to the drawing board. Also, there were talks about him having a padded record. That was the more astonishing, not even astonishing, but agonizing thing for me. That how are you getting selected with these kind of records on a resume where you're going and beating. I saw his last match that he had before this tournament, before this fight, and he was just beating some amateur boxer with an illegal kick first, illegal knee he hit him with, soccer kick probably, and then he won the fight. I mean, it was bad display of professional performance. So yeah, Sumit Kumar needs to, and he has potential, don't get me wrong that I'm just being negative about this guy. If you are able to take people down at will like that, you have to just improve your setups, and it doesn't take long in order to improve that part of the fighting.
Since you already have a good
Yes.
martial art background with you, which is wrestling.
Since you already have a good base in wrestling, it will just take him a little bit more time getting good at entries, and post that keeping people down again. That is something that you can learn very quickly, and probably then he can have a much better career. So he has good athleticism. Even the commentators, Laura Sanko,
Good fitness.
was telling this. They have good fitness. He has good athletic base. So all of these factors are already there. All he needs is to get a good set of coaches, not just flaunt that I'm training with this and that team. That is something that we as Indians always fall in a trap of showboating.
Makes sense.
You know, that kind of thing. Let's talk about this other guy, Rana Rudra Pratap Singh. Have you seen his previous fights?
I have. I still remember, like, we were sitting and we were just breaking it down, and we already knew that this is going to happen.
Yes.
That's how it was.
I remember you texting me right one day before the fight when Sumit's match happened that should we make a prediction out for him losing in a bad fashion? I was like, no, let's give him a chance.
Because sometimes these things happen, no? Like
it's
you get a victory by fluke.
Yeah.
So if that would have happened, I would have called it a fluke for sure. I understand he's our guy, but the reality has to be something that we shouldn't shy away from. And speaking it, because he actually took someone else's position who could have been up over there and had made the country proud.
Yeah. So that was my biggest gripe with with both these fighters. Not personally because they were bad skill or ठीक है चलो skill तो develop होते रहेगा, but there are people who might be more apt for that position. They are more right for that position and still they miss out.
Most scarier part is that these people might close the door for other
For
fighters to
Indian
get into
fighters
the
because now
UFC.
they'll be like कि अच्छा level ही ऐसा है इनका, इनको अभी 10 साल और मेहनत करनी है तब इनको बुलाएंगे. अभी let's call Indonesian fighters more, let's call fighters from Australia or wherever. Australia तो अभी वैसे भी बहुत ही बड़ी टीम है. So yeah, you're right. It gives some overall bad impression, and I hope that UFC doesn't do that because Indian MMA we have so much of hopes, so
Absolutely.
much
We
of
have talent also.
yes, we have talent, we have the best boxers. So this is our plan for the future, na? Ki we have to get these boxers and wrestlers who are training independently in their own thing, and they are not reaching probably the most elite of the elite level. Or US में भी यही हुआ. All the elite wrestlers who were not like making it to the Olympic team, these MMA gyms when they proliferated everywhere, they became a magnet for all these wrestlers who were looking for अच्छा college खत्म हो गया NCAA में I did not win the number one spot, so I'm not getting a coaching job somewhere else. So what should I do now? So let's do MMA.
Totally makes sense. So rather than poaching fighters from other gyms who are already doing something which is being taught to them by their previous coaches and just showing them as your own fighter, it is better to go to fighters who haven't made it big and have just trained in a singular art and give them other skills and now make them a top-notch fighter and make them have a good life with that.
More on this poaching thing that you slyly mentioned, sneakily mentioned in a bit. But yeah, the great part is, as I already mentioned, कि उनके पास already एक अच्छा base है. If they are elite level boxers, they already have great hands. Now all you need to teach them is good takedown defense, good scrimmage ability, even add some submissions on top,
Absolutely.
and they will become a phenomenal fighter in no time. Probably 1 or 2 year max, we can produce great fighters for UFC from India.
Since already they have got this martial arts IQ, no, so
Yeah,
it
I
becomes
mean,
really easy. Why I can say this because I've been seeing this in your case also. He's a grappling nerd. He's a purist, grappler purist when it comes to that. And now he's training striking. And in 2 days, he's doing a jab like anything. Like I've seen fighters who have been doing jab, but they've got no defensive hand position, no leg position. And in 2 days, this man is throwing jab as if he's a pro into this. So it becomes easy for any martial artist to learn other martial art. That's how it goes.
special skills that I possess, guys. It's just inborn talent, nothing else.
Waiting to be unlocked.
But yeah, I've been training some striking with Girish because he's a genius, striking genius, and I feel
Thank you.
like I should be learning from the best. So I'm just picking his brains for free as long as he allows me to. So yeah, thank you for all the lessons.
Love it, Piyush
I
bhai.
have no plans of doing MMA, guys. So don't be scared, homie. I'm not going to step in the octagon and get my face bashed in and just commentate from the outside. Uh, yeah, coming back to the poaching point, what happened there?
So, Abhi, recently this thing
You only
was
sent
out.
me this screenshot, huh?
Yeah, so this thing was out that some famous gyms,
Koi combat.
they have a good gym from Bangalore have called out this famous gym for poaching their athletes, and this famous gym they just send their athletes into this promotion, and then they call themselves as if they belong to them, and they have been training along with them for their entire life, and now they take credit for being the best gym in India. So this thing has been happening for a while. We people knew it, but then this gym decided to take a stand for it and talk about it and make this thing public.
So you're right that these guys were fighting in his gym. I remember Vishal Sehgal from Bangalore when I was training at IJJ. Some of his fighters used to come and cross train with us at IJJ. I remember training with Dinesh. I don't remember training with Chungran, but these are two fighters I think that they claimed they were poached from their gym, and their main point was that they have invested a lot of money into them. They have had international flight tickets, the training camp, nutrition, everything sorted for them for a while.
Makes sense.
And I don't think they have had a contract. Did they mention a contract?
I think there was this contract thing also mentioned. These gyms are these famous gyms are creating this contract thing.
Okay.
They're bounding them into that.
So I think this is how Indian MMA, when we become more professional, we'll learn things, a thing or two about contracts. Because if you're a contracted fighter who is getting posed, then you'll have some kind of leverage to fight that battle out in a much more litigation form of way. But if you did not have any contract and the fighter decides to pursue his training in a different gym where he feels like he has probably better training opportunities, to be honest. So I don't think you can really claim. You can, on the point of morality, you can be like, yes, I raised you, I treated you well, I gave you all the things that you needed.
Mm-hmm.
But what about, do you have anything legal to alter that fact?
Nothing legal, to be honest. That's your choice, but I'd be going with the more morality of this topic. I'm more into something like if you're training in a gym which is decent enough and they have got the skills, maybe they lack in certain skills, but then I also believe that now it's your responsibility to bring in those skills as a martial artist and make that gym better because I'd be I prefer being more on the gym side in that case. Like I believe athletes too should have this morality thing into them. Like there's a place where you started doing these baby steps, learning these baby steps from, and if there is some decent amount of training available up over there, it is better to stick with that gym and achieve greatness in that case.
But here's the thing, sometimes martial artists or like fighters in general outgrow the gym that they are from.
Hmm.
They reach a level where their coaches probably cannot help them enough, or their coaches are not inclined to bring in the special, more talented people. But sometimes it's a battle of ego, it's just a human problem in general. And we have seen this play out a lot in American MMA scene where people always gym hop from one gym to the other. Sometimes they succeed a lot with a new gym, and we have seen instances, let's say in case of Usman. Didn't Usman leave for Trevor Whitman and then become much more Justin Gaethje, for example? So people keep switching camps. Even John Jones switched camps a while later. Can you cite more examples?
So I would be saying that there can be two ways to do a certain thing. One way could be a George St. Pierre thing. He even switched his camps. He went to Greg Jackson. He trained with Firaz Zahabi. On the other hand, but these camps, they had this open mind. These gyms, they had this open mind of collaborating together for fighters' sake and now creating a perfect athlete in that case. And that's how George St. Pierre came into the picture, right? Same goes with Usman and this Trevor Whitman and this Henry Hooft camp. Henry Hooft allowed Usman to go up over there, do his training camp up over there, but eventually you're also going to see footages of Usman training with Michael Chandler in this gym where these Gilbert Burns and these guys train along with Henry Hooft. And then there are cases of guys like TJ Dillashaw, who actually trained at Alpha Male. And Dwayne Ludwig came into the existence up over there. No doubt Dillashaw developed some amazing striking skills. But ultimately, he decided to leave his gym and completely switch to this gym of Dwayne Ludwig, which is okay. But I think Team Alpha Male could have been up over there and could have collaborated with Dwayne Ludwig in that case and should have been more like, you know what I mean?
What you're saying is fantastic point. Like if gyms can find a way to collaborate for the sake of fighters sticking with their old coach or where they have grown up throughout from the white belt stage, let's say, and then they have achieved success, it's great. But in ideal world, a lot of things don't work out. For example, the business side probably does not work out because now this gym will want some kind of incentive and then the other side will want different kind of incentive, and that's where these relationships go bad. Right, it's typical like any other business relationship. It's just not the student and teacher relationship after some point, especially when the fighter gets more name, more fame, more recognition, more money. So all these things become a business transaction after a point where and even in jiu-jitsu world there are so many famous cases of teams like the top teams like Art of Jiu-Jitsu, Athos, Checkmat. They handpicking fighters who are training in Brazil all their life till purple belt, bringing them down to US. Obviously, they offer them better opportunity, better lifestyle, and everything. But now they have taken them away from their root gym, because of which all these gyms who have bred these talented people now have no recognition. So, who is at fault here? Is it these gyms who are technically poaching the student, or but they by also providing them more opportunities, more better business opportunities, more better career opportunities, or is it the uh, fighter who decides to ditch his gym for those opportunities? So I think that is something of a dilemma which will plague martial art world, and I think probably it happens in Even if you're a lawyer and you started a smaller firm, you become big. Top firm hires you, right? So I think this is something which is just human nature, I guess. At the end of the day, wherever I always side with the fighter because the fighter knows the best for himself. I don't care what coaches think. Yes, you have invested time and effort, but if you have a contract, you have a legal way of holding the person down, pinning the person down. But if you don't and they decide to move away for a better training, or if you cannot create an environment, and I'm not again taking shots at anyone that did not do this or do that, I'm just talking from a technical point of view, that if you cannot foster that kind of environment which can make the fighter stay, the fighter is within his rights to look on, move on to a better opportunity. And both of the guys that they mentioned probably in the post, they've had fantastic results with this new team,
Okay.
right? They have been showing great game development in MFN, and they're going to fight again. So probably we'll talk about MFN also in our upcoming episode. MFN 12 is about to come on the scene very soon, where these fighters will fight. And Chungren himself is one of the top prospect for the country because of his lethal grappling and great ground and pound. Like I was super impressed by the way he handled Manish Mohanta last time. You're not someone who watches NFL a lot.
I don't watch MFN a lot, to be
You should
honest,
start.
because of the commentary, to be honest.
Yeah, the commentary is really atrocious at times, done by people who probably do not train martial arts themselves as much, or are theoretical martial artists, what I call them. Okay, let's talk about 289 first because that's this week, right? 289. Yes, let's go into 289.
289 card is Oliveira and Derek.
It's Dariush versus Oliveira.
Charles
Yeah.
Oliveira. That's the only fight that I'm actually looking to see.
That's true. Like that's that and the main fight, the main event fight.
Amanda
Amanda Nunes versus. I was more excited for the Pena fight, Juliana Pena, but Pena
makes
pulled
sense.
out last minute.
Hmm.
And this Aldana girl, woman, whatever, she does not look like that high level technical fighter.
I used to like women's fighting when there was this Ronda Rousey kind of era up over there. Right now, I just don't enjoy women's
I
fighting
think
that
now
much.
the women are much more technical.
I'm
than
sure, but at that time I was just seeing some high level judo and some good trash talking and stuff going on. Like fight was selling in a way that it should have sold.
The problem is that most of the women champions that we have had since then are not great.
With marketing and
Seller.
stuff. Yep.
They can't sell the fights. Like Amanda Nunes, language barrier, she can't sell the fight apart from saying that she's a lioness.
Mm.
We had Valentina Shevchenko, who has great skills, great abilities, great judo throws, great striking for the longest time, and she was a champion. She could not sell a fight to save her life. Yeah, I think female fighting needs a lot of trash talk. They need a Conor McGregor sort of figure to come along, a female Conor,
Yep.
and light up the division.
On the other hand, when Rousey used to fight, I didn't like her. And for that sake, because the way she was presenting herself into the media, I just wanted her to get beaten up bad. And when that Holly Holm thing happened, I was really satisfied seeing that. I was sitting up over there at my edge of my chair and I was loving Holly knifing her out. So that's how it sells. You have to play a role of a good heel or a good hero, but you gotta play the role.
I think fighters are too scared of playing the role of the heel. They haven't yet understood the point ki it's all show business.
It's entertainment. It's not for you, to be honest. What kind of a great athlete you are, something like that. It's for us.
Yeah, it's for the spectators, and spectators tune in two cases. One, when you are the greatest athlete that the sport has ever seen, and two, if they want to see you lose very badly.
Absolutely.
Okay, so even in the case of greatest athlete, like deep down within you are like Mayweather versus Conor, क्या Mayweather knockout हो जाएगा? इतना greatest boxer क्या knockout हो जाएगा Conor से? That's what I want to see.
And I was believing it with my full heart that Connor's going to beat him, to be honest, because the love for that person, the way he used to sell fight, that was just next level at that time.
I used to like Conor till he had fight with Nate Diaz, and that's when the split happened where Diaz fandom took over, and then I was
Okay.
yeah, fuck Conor. But yeah, back to the fight card. The second fight, the co-main event, is probably the one which is going to like kick a lot of noise, dirt. Oliveira versus Dariush. Let's break down both of these fighters. So Oliveira is probably fighting, not probably. I don't know why I keep saying probably. Oliveira is fighting after a big hiatus after the Islam Makhachev fight, the fight that he lost his title in. And he lost it very quick. It was a quick knockdown and then a flash arm triangle choke, which he did not defend very technically. Unfortunately, I have to say that. Sitting on my couch, looking like a potato. Uh, but yeah, that was a good win on Makhachev's part, and since then Makhachev has fought Alex, but Oliveira was out of competition, and now he's coming back against a killer guy in Dariush, who has probably one of my favorite string of knockouts in the recent time. Did he have his last match against Gamrot?
I think the last one was against Gamrot only.
And that was such a fantastic battle because that showed him that he's very great at grappling. We already knew that he's a jiu-jitsu world champion.
That too with the new meta of grappling.
With the new meta, his great takedown defenses. Something that I learned from watching his matches is that anytime he finds himself after a failed takedown or a failed wrestling scramble in a turtle position, where ideally you would get hit from the other person, he just rolls under for the leg.
Victor roll and
Victor
stuff like
rolls
that.
for the leg, and he does not make the mistake of trying to finish the leg lock. That's where people get the bad rep of leg locks from. They try to go for the leg lock and put their everything into finishing a leg lock, and then they get beaten up, and then the other person gets a top position. Whereas he uses the leg lock entries to sweep people and get up on top. So if you're losing a wrestling scramble, which is like the upper body or the classic wrestling battle, you just use these funk rolls to bring yourself back to the top position.
Recently, Gordon's instructional came on this topic, no? Leg locks to pass.
Leg locks to passing, yes, but that is probably that has a different theme in which people are already broken down onto the hip when they are attempting a leg lock on you. Whereas what this guy Dariush does is he puts himself in the bottom, or he finds himself in the bottom position and then uses the thread of his own leg lock
Makes
to get
sense.
up on top.
Makes sense. Though he did win for this heel hook against Tony Ferguson. The rotational finish
He
kind of
did,
thing.
and Tony did not tap. So
Tony
that
didn't tap.
shows once again there are people who will just eat leg locks and not tap, and then you'll have to.
But then now that damage has been created.
Damage.
And now you have an advantage in that fight of damage.
So who have you got in this fight? What is your analysis first of all, and what do you think about this fight?
Piyush bhai, both of them are excellent grapplers. Obviously, Charles Oliveira is next level of jiu-jitsu, but that's old school jiu-jitsu to be honest. And on the other hand, he has got this new meta of jiu-jitsu. So I see a lot of jiu-jitsu being neutralized, but I see Dariush being on the top position because of the new meta. When it comes to jiu-jitsu part, because when it comes to the grappling part,
Who will shoot for a takedown, Dariush?
I think it's going to be Dariush. But I don't see anyone, to be honest, going for the takedown. It's going to be more of a striking matchup.
How I see it going is probably Dariush using his striking, combining it with the wrestling. How Charles dominates his other opponents who are more striking heavy is he walks them down towards the cage and then entangles them in this. Even Charles has very similar skill set though, to be honest.
Exactly, that's what I'm seeing.
So, but who will have the better takedown defense will probably take this match.
Takedown defense wise, you're saying?
Yes.
It's Dariush.
Dariush, right?
Because Charles is going to accept the position for the bottom
On the
thing.
bottom, yeah.
When he's going to get tagged, he's going to go bottom. When he's going to go for the takedown attempt, Dariush, he's going to go down.
That is a big factor again. Charles' ability to take in damage because he has a very class chin now at this point in his career after so many years of UFC fights and just hardcore training that they do in that shoot boxing academy. It's like very, very hard. Did you laugh on the name?
Yeah.
That's Brazilian name, I can't do. But yeah, I think at some point it might be a KO victory for a TKO victory for Dariush because of this chin problem.
That can be one thing, but on the other hand, when it comes to the striking department, I also think if chin doesn't play a role, striking advantage I'm going to give to Charles Oliveira. Reason being because of his fundamentals when it comes to striking. Dariush is not that much of a defensive or safety first striker, to be honest. On the other hand, Oliveira is quite fundamentally sound when he throws strikes. His defensive hand is in right position, and he likes to go for the catch and shoot kind of counters in the exchanges, and he keeps his forward pressure, knees and stuff. So these things are going to play a big
He's
role.
very creative in his striking.
Absolutely.
Given that. His Dariush is more of a. But man, Dariush has the power to put your lights out.
That's one thing. That's one thing. So if he catches the chin, there's a good chance Charles is going. But if you are going to go for a kickboxing to kickboxing match and Charles is his chin favors him, I think the striking advantage is going to go to Charles Oliveira in that case.
So who do you have for this one?
Dariush.
Dariush. I think even I have Dariush. Do you have any opinions on this one?
I would like Charles to win. I like the guy.
Like it's 9-10. There's not much of a difference, to be honest. Even Charles can win. I'm not seeing it being a one-sided matchup, to be honest.
The main thing is that Charles usually wins the fight by jiu-jitsu, not by his striking most of the time. So in this case, that big jiu-jitsu advantage that he has over other guys, which makes other guys scared to engage with him, that he just jumps to the back, finds a way to the back, that won't be with Dariush.
I think the recipe to this jiu-jitsu thing comes with this thing, with this striking thing. So if you're able to tag a person right and they go on the ground, now their mind or their equilibrium is not in the right state, and that's the time when you can sink in good chokes even against a good grappler. That happened against this same guy, Makachev and Charles Oliveira, because he was tagged bad. So that's why that arm triangle went in so deep, that too at a very lame position, to be honest. So that's how it goes.
That's true.
So if you're tagged, jiu-jitsu skills might not play a big role in that case.
Right.
Even a simple,
I mean, your mind is not working, right? So it
yes,
doesn't matter
the
how much
equilibrium is
knowledge
not
you
up
have.
over there.
Yes. So let's take quick picks at the 290 card as well, because that is a banger of a card, guys.
Hey man, that's orgasm before orgasm.
Even the prelims are great. Like one of the best cards I've seen in a long time. And great thing is that now we have UFC card every single weekend till probably next 2 months, right?
Let's go.
So that's going to be
Some
pretty-
good entertainment
pretty
in the
fun.
morning though.
Yeah, man. Like waking up on Sunday morning not having UFC is just like, what should I do with my Sunday now? How should I start the Sunday?
The best part is like when the UFC fight plays, do you also do this? Like I generally text you and some few other people. This is happening.
Chatting
This is going
during
on.
UFC fight is the best.
This is the thing. This is happening. God, what did this happen?
But I stopped right before the round starts to play, because if I'm chatting during the round, now I can't focus on what's
that's
happening.
true, that's true.
And if you make that big mistake of looking down the screen while something goes down, now you're like, oh shit, I just missed it.
Happens a lot, man.
So
That's how I miss it.
I remember one time when there was this, I think Volkanovski and Islam were fighting, and we upheld this big fight on our School of Combat group. So there was this guy who was favoring Islam because of the traditional reasons, and then Volkanovski, for me, it was like Volkanovski is going to win. So he wasn't able to accept the fact due to his personal bias. So I was like, how can you not believe it now? Just let those bias go out of the picture and believe it. So that's how it was going with us.
you are the guy who always messages me for links, bro, for Russian links.
Russian links, yeah.
This guy is like, bro, where's the link? And I'm like, shit, bro, I was watching on Soli Live, $99, get a fucking subscription. But yeah.
I do it for Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
Jiu-Jitsu
yeah,
matches.
as well. I'm basically the link master for a lot of people. Like, I'll get 10 DMs on the day that there's some fight, which even I forget sometimes. There'll be like, bro, link. Like, wait, bro, let me see what I can do. It's pretty easy. You have to just go and type UFC or MMA streams link.
Ah, that's how it
MMA
has to be.
streams,
But then someone else is doing that work for you, no?
It just gets presented with a link to click and yeah.
Alright, so 290, couple of great fighters. Which fighter are you guys excited to see?
Robert Whittaker.
UFC 290 prelims. Let's start with that. When is UFC 290 though?
8th July.
Hey man, it's
8th
too
of
long.
July.
1 month. I know, it's a bit too long.
It's okay. 1 month passes in our schedule like nothing.
And that's
like
true.
I've lost count. Like I was today wondering how is the half of the year already passed?
Yeah.
We just started with the new year. I just got 27. Now 28 is coming again in like next 6 to 8 months. Damn. Okay, so let's start with the early prelims. Early prelims, probably I don't know any one of them. So let's move on to the prelims. Jimmy Crude versus Alonzo Manyfield. Jimmy Crude is a good light heavyweight. Have you seen his fights?
No idea, Bishwing.
Alright, moving on. Okay, Sean Brady versus Jack Della Maddalena.
I've heard this name, Sean Brady.
Jack Della Maddalena, bro. He's a truth. He's one of the fighters from Australia, and he fought in the last Australian card that happened in the Makachev versus Volkanovski one. And he has had like great first round finishes. So I think he has had now 6 first round finishes. See this win.
Good chance he's winning.
14-2, and he's a great submission artist, great TKO guy. So one of the brightest prospect in this division. So I'm going with Jack Della Maddalena. Nice name also, JDM. Jack Della Maddalena. Alright. The headliner is Robbie Lawler versus Nico Price.
Hey man, that's violence.
That's Robbie Lawler anytime it's violence, right? And even Nico Price has had some fantastic wins. His last match was actually a loss against Philippe Rowe.
Nico?
Yeah.
But every time he comes into that octagon, he's willing to fight. This guy. I think he fought Donald Cerrone also.
At some
Did
point, yeah, he did. There was no contest on that Covington card. Alright, and now we get into the main spice, the main card. We have our boy Bo Nickel. I say my boy, but he's one of the top wrestlers. But grappling community, so yeah. Versus Trishan Gore.
Is he being faded with the guys right now?
Yeah, he's just been giving like good easy fights to build his resume.
Let him build up. Looks like a good prospect.
Good prospect. I think fights like this are important, and I hope Anshul also gets some good, I won't say easy fights, but not over the top fights like
That's
in the
true.
beginning of his career. Because sometimes you need those 1, 2, 3 years to mature as a fighter as well. Learn and add more skills so that you can be at that top level. And if you get like a guy who is in top 10 or top 15 or just like really high level for you at that point in your career, it just stops that momentum that you had.
True.
So they're doing a good job. Like a classic example of this is Darren Till.
Yes.
He had a great train going for him, and then he got some
Wrestlers
killers.
and these guys, no?
Yeah, so that was a fast track thing that.
Woodley was the time when his train got derailed.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people say it is very quick for his career. Let him just build his grappling. Let his.
We actually lost to Wonderboy Thompson also. Wonderboy could have got that opportunity. I think it could have been his third opportunity in that case, Wonderboy Thompson. Yeah. But then it was in London, so he got favored in that fight.
Right. So then we have Dan Hooker fighting. Again, another exciting fighter to watch out for against Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner, I don't know much about. Let's check his record. He lost to Matthias Gamrot. So again, I think it's like a bounce back fight for Dan Hooker.
Colby Covington, that guy comes into my mind with this name Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker, what did he say?
He said something. Who names his son by the name Hooker or something?
He's a Hooker. Dan Hooker. जो इंडिया में होता है ना कि सारे पारसी लोग they have the surname what their actual job is. That's not the same with this guy.
That's true.
But we belong to the Hooker family of hookers. Okay, middleweight. This is Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis. Let's go.
The real African he claims to be.
Bro, I want this guy to get derailed so bad.
Robert is going with that right high kick or a left hook. And it's a KO.
Yeah. Dricus, people were saying that he should be fast tracked to fight with Adesanya, but it's too early. He has to get tested against a real wrestler, which is Robert. Very high caliber fighter. And also his cardio is very sus. Like every single time that I've seen him in the octagon, he seems fatiguing after every round. Somehow he manages to pull in a victory.
That is true.
But Robert Whittaker is great everywhere.
Is next level. Robert Whittaker is the best thing in middleweight, but then there are people who have got your number. So Israel just has his number.
Even the second fight against Israel,
it was very close.
So I think if he wins this fight, he can claim
again. He can go for the third.
That'll be a good fight to watch.
Absolutely.
So
He's getting close to that video game.
Yeah.
Either of them who are winning would go for Israel next.
I hope so. I don't know. I'm not Dana White because that guy has some different plans. He might even. But who is next for Izzy though? That's a good question. Who can he fight in that division? He has just.
So that fucker already denied Alex Pereira's second chance
Yeah.
because he knew how tough of a thing that is.
And the worst part is that even Alex did not want that fight anymore.
I think UFC should plan Khamzat Chimaev for Israel Adesanya because I am totally frustrated to see that guy and doing his anime shit.
About Hamzat's match
What was
with
it?
Kamaru Usman.
Kamaru Usman.
I think
But
that's-
then again, that's a good fight, bro. I cannot deny that.
yeah, I think that's what I think Hamzat.
I think UFC do not want that Israel should go out of this championship league because they want a good, solid contender in middleweight who can sell a fight.
Yeah. I think Robert Whittaker should get his rematch before Khamzat gets his hand at Izzy.
Yes.
That'll be another classic fight to watch.
And if he fails again, now get your match with Khamzat. But Robert has to be the champion.
Khamzat
That's
is
what I'm
going to really dominate Izzy if that fight happens.
Absolutely.
That kind of grappling pedigree I've seen Izzy's wrestling, it's not going to cut it.
Hmm.
Like that's ragdoll and mauling.
It's just a luck puncher's chance he has. Catch Khamzat coming in with something good. If he catches a hold of you, you're going into deep waters now.
Same like how Khabib and Conor fight was.
Exactly. That's how it's going to be.
Brandon Moreno versus Alejandro Pantoja.
I love Brandon.
So there's a story behind this, no? That this guy Alejandro Potter, whatever his name is, he has beaten Moreno 2 times.
Has he? Let me just-
That's what I have. Something similar to this I've heard. Is that a truth?
He has beaten. I can't find his name in this list.
Maybe I heard something wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has a win over Brandon Moreno once. He lost to Davison Figueiredo. Yeah, just once. And that was way back in his career in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Maya versus Usman. What a fight.
Who was his last opponent he fought?
His last opponent was Alex Perez. And he won by a neck.
Moreno is winning easy.
Bro, Moreno is a very.
Operating on different level
yeah,
these
he is
days.
Very high level fighter.
High level jits, high level boxing.
And he has merged the boxing and grappling, the same thing that we talk about, striking and
Shoot
grappling
boxing.
with shoot boxing. He has merged that skill really well. Even against Figueiredo, who is another master of this skill, he just dominated him
Absolutely.
and out grappled him. So Moreno for the win in that one. And then finally in the main card of 290 we have Alexander Volkanovski
Let's go.
versus Yair Rodriguez. I don't think we have to be unanimous on this one, right? It's Volkanovski.
Totally.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yair has some of the slickest striking, but I think Alex will just take him down.
I am seeing Yair throwing some slick kicks at his dome.
Yeah.
But I am seeing Volkanovski surviving them and then taking him into deep waters. But Yair is catching him.
Yair is probably one of the highest level of striking talent in the UFC right now.
Absolutely.
Like his last match against Josh Emmett, he just did not let the man touch him.
He even has got some slick jiu-jitsu, some
Yes.
lanky guard.
Lanky guard. But again, guard
Elbows
game
from bottom.
guard game from bottom, I feel I don't care how good you are. A guy like Alex. who's
Alex
trained
is
with
taking
Craig,
him for sure.
knows how to neutralize you from the
Yep.
top.
Right now he'd be doing a lot of drilling with Craig from bottom guard only.
You know what they're doing right now? They are training with this guy. What's his name?
Beating that.
Beat him nahi. Is training with those Paul brothers. Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Acha, Volkanovski you're talking about. I thought you were saying about Craig. Yes. Izzy and Volkanovski.
Izzy and
Okay.
Logan Paul. Yeah.
Okay. So they have done this Prime sponsorship along with them, na? For Paul brother. Logan has done this Prime drink membership along with them. Sponsorship with them. So now they are linked together and that's how they are training together now.
Makes sense. So Craig is just being invited to all the cool parties, no?
That's a good thing. Be a friend with a good guy and you become good. That's how it is.
One day, bro, to all those parties, I'll invite you. Don't worry. Yeah. So I saw one video where Logan Paul is getting strangled by Izzy
Mm.
on Instagram. That was super cool to see. So in Puerto Rico, these guys have a mansion, Paul Brothers, like sick place.
So much of money, man.
Yeah. So yeah, they're enjoying their life, bro. And it's good that they're learning grappling because, especially jiu-jitsu,
They already have got this wrestling background in them.
they have wrestling background. They also know Logan is a great pro wrestler as well. Have you seen his matches in
I've seen that.
WWE?
I've seen that.
Bro, high
Highly
flying.
athletic, this guy is. I think he's having some knee or hand injury. So that's why he wasn't able to compete in boxing post Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. Or probably doesn't want to compete in boxing because
Maybe, yeah.
एक भाई को करना है तो दूसरा भाई I don't want to enter MMA.
They are actually creating some spectacles. Even playing role of heels.
Yeah. I don't despise the Paul brothers. I know they are widely hated. But they're just creating their own brand, their own niche, like
Absolutely.
which anyone is allowed to do if they have the money to do that, they have the skill to do that. And I'm sure he's putting good hours in the gym. He's not just half-assing it.
That's true. When a guy like Floyd needs you, that means you're doing something right.
Yes. And that means that you can generate revenue, which is what matters at the end of the day, as we talked about entertainment business. Okay, so talking about celebrities, I shared this post recently where even Elon Musk is now training jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
And people are now already talking about a super fight between the metaverse versus Teslaverse.
I watched that.
How good that is. Like pretty much every celebrity who's cerebral with nature, cerebral with mind are training jiu-jitsu now.
I think jiu-jitsu has the power to proliferate itself among all the billionaires in the world because, as I told you, once you have so much of money, you need something akin to that meditation of 15 to 20 minutes. And a grappling sport like jiu-jitsu where you're not taking enough damage, it's not as tough as wrestling, is the perfect vehicle for that.
When will our Bollyfucks realize it?
Bollywood. I think they will. They just don't have a good source of learning that, you know. So if we open a center probably in Mumbai, I think the only reason that why we are not doing that because of the high rental rates. But once true jiu-jitsu, good jiu-jitsu reaches Mumbai, I think there are a lot of people already pursuing it. So hopefully in
There is
future-
this guy who trains these people. Yep.
Shout out to my friend Rishabh. Still a white belt, but he's doing a good job of starting a legit academy over there, training. They have some other guys as well who I would not like to mention. They are not great people. So, anyways, let me ask you this: Elon versus Mark, who wins?
I think Mark Zuckerberg is going to
Mark
win.
Zuckerberg?
Yep.
He seems more frail. I think Elon has that dad bod and the weight advantage.
But I think if you're going to give time a edge, it's going to be
Yeah, and he also
Mark
has a
Zuckerberg.
competition experience under his belt, so
Yes.
he's already going to be better.
So
What
that's
submission
gonna-
is he getting from?
But then he's got Joe Rogan in his corner.
Who, Elon Musk?
Elon Musk.
I think Joe Rogan will also get beaten by this. Just kidding. Joe is the
Take
black
money
belt.
and just lose.
Joe is the black belt, but anyways, do you have a celebrity experience, right? Training with let's not call it celebrity, let's call it one of the mega celebrities of the country, the big people, powerful people. So who is it? Reveal it to people and let's talk about the experience.
So Piyush bhai, it was my first day in Phuket,
Uh,
in Phuket top team.
make it a little bit anticipatory.
Yep,
okay?
yep. So
Yes.
I was up over there. I wasn't seeing any Indian in that gym who was training up over there.
When was this?
It's in November 2019.
19.
So we were getting ready to warm up. Just got introduced with Olavo Ebiru, the best coach in the world, and so people started warming up on their own initially, and then the class starts, and then the coach takes the warm up. But then people were initially just warming up by themselves, maybe stretching and doing some mobility work, and then I suddenly see a guy who was running around me, like not around me, around a lot of people on the mat space. And I see him and I realize I've seen this guy somewhere. He had this big white beard on him. And I'm seeing, and I'm like, I've seen this guy somewhere. It is not a possibility that I have not seen this guy. Who is he? And in the last of the last mind of mine, I cannot connect that this person is Rahul Gandhi.
Whoa.
And that person was actually Rahul Gandhi.
The crown prince of the country, maybe
And
of the future.
And suddenly I realized, oh God, this is Rahul Gandhi. And no one recognized him up over there.
Because there were no Indians.
Yes, no, they were no Indian that day especially. And I saw him and I immediately went up to him. And I was like, man, I'm a big fan and stuff.
He got that celebrity syndrome.
So I had a word with him.
What did you guys talk about?
So just I introduced myself to him, and he was like, "You're from Delhi?" No, 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 I'm from Jaipur. He says it's a good place. It's his hub, to be honest. Ashok Gehlot's government is up over there. So very nice person, to be honest. When I had a word along with him, very genuine person. So we had this word, and then Olavo came in, and he was like, "Hey, you both are Indians. You can train together."
Damn, let's go.
So he made us train together. So Rahul was actually telling me about his martial art experience. So he's got this 6th degree black belt in Aikido. He goes to Thailand for power yoga kind of stuff. And at the same time, he also knew that Aikido is more of a philosophical martial art. And Jiu-Jitsu is the real stuff. So
had that awareness.
he had this awareness. So it's like, that's the real stuff. And this is something which is more on the philosophical side. So nothing is wrong, nothing is right. And I was like, let's see with this Jiu-Jitsu thing, because I too was very naive at that point of time. I just knew some trap and rolls and some elbow escapes. So we started training together. And Oravo gave us some drills. We did that. And then after that, that rolling session happened.
Was he wearing a gi? Were you doing?
He was wearing a gi.
And you were also in.
I was in a gi. So we started rolling. He had some good half guard pressure from the top. He passed my guard.
Okay.
He came to side control, and he caught me in a kimura.
Let's go. Rahul Gandhi's favorite submission. Now we know.
He caught me in a kimura. Second time again, Rahul Gandhi passed my guard, came to side control. This time, he just made a mistake of keep bringing his hand between my legs as a scoop grip, and I got him in a reverse triangle.
Let's go. Just pushing his head inside. And
Yes. Third time, he again passed my guard, mounted me, and I trap and rolled him. And this was his word. "Ye kaise kiya?" So this is a conversation that I had along with that guy. Later on, I asked him for the picture and stuff, and he was like, "We'll take it. I'll come in the evening or something, and we'll take it." So that's the conversation I had along with him.
Were there security people around him?
Nah, no one. Even when the group picture happened, he
Excuse himself.
he excused himself out of that position. So that something happened. He also asked me to mail him for more. He wanted that Jiu-Jitsu should come into the country, and he can help us out with that thing. So I did that, but I didn't receive any reply. Maybe he's got a busy schedule or something like that.
Did you email him at the right address? What
Yeah, I took it from his Instagram account.
अच्छा फिर तो वो किसी random बंदे ने चला रहा होगा.
Yes, so that's
they
what it
get
is.
like millions of emails.
He was like that, "I'm going to come in the evening. I'll give you my email also." So whatever it is what it is. But I can. This is something that I can tell you that a very wise person when I had interaction along with that person.
So I got a sense of that he trains jiu-jitsu. I heard some people at cross train tell कि he came for some closed door training sometimes back, like a couple of years back.
He told this to me. He told this that I used to also train in Delhi.
Yeah, and cross train being the
Pioneers.
big name and pioneers in Delhi scene. I think it shows that. But then I saw his one video of him teaching the girls some self-defense in an Indian college. Where I was teaching them about that triangular base, where if you keep this base, people can't push you, pull you. The basic combative thing, basic. That
He had this very good idea about this thing, about where to place your weight. He was teaching me this. Like when you're in half guard, keep your shoulder pressure up over here so that he doesn't roll you to this side or that
Shoulder of
side. So
justice.
was very cerebral about this thing.
And then I heard him mention, whenever I hear a mention of him talking about jiu-jitsu, he recently had a lot of talks, interviews, and even the Padyatra that he did, Bharat Joro Yatra, he talked a lot about, with few people he talked about jiu-jitsu. He just mentions it casually, that I train, I do martial arts, I do jiu-jitsu. And that shows that he really loves jiu-jitsu, he admires jiu-jitsu. And I have quite a good hope that if he in future comes to the power in the country, we can definitely approach him about the state of jiu-jitsu. So just for my own personal gain and for the gain of the community, Rahul Gandhi, future PM, what do you say?
Let's go. I'm totally in with that.
Yes. So guys, before we get too political and we get cancelled by some of the oppositions.
We people might be now in some hit list.
Yeah. So let's wrap the podcast over here. It was a good one. I think this is the longest that we have done a podcast.
Absolutely.
So guys, if you enjoy this, please follow, share, like the podcast on the YouTube, and also rate us on Spotify. because the ratings helps us reflect more in the algorithms list, and more Indian people can watch the podcast then, and we'll continue to create great content for you guys, or at least mediocre content for you guys.
That's the worst part, no? Like this celebrity syndrome. These people, some few people have. Like you can see a lot of views on your podcast, but not many people liking the podcast,
Well,
and they're enjoying
even
it.
I don't like the podcast. I like a lot of things, to be honest. You know why? Because when you like it, it just comes into your like playlist thing, and sometimes your likes are visible. So I don't want it to be visible for people. It's just for the privacy thing. I don't like it most of the time. But yeah, I think people, as long as people are watching it, giving us the views.
That's also good. But if you're watching the full podcast, I would suggest please like it. If you're not, then it's okay.
Yes, if you watch it fully, you were entertained for 2 hours, you were doing something, and we helped you pass the time. Please do show your love and support. Share it with people who are like-minded, who are doing this. Share it with Rahul Gandhi. Let him follow up with Girish about that
Or Piyush
email
bhai.
thing. Yeah, and we can do some privates together.
Absolutely. Looking forward.
So, guys, that's about it for in this podcast. We'll see you again very, very soon. Um, Joe Salad has been trying to come on this space for a long time now, but I think he enjoys the couch more. So, one day it will happen. I promise you, you'll get to see his beautiful face. Other than that, guys, os hasta la vista. Thank you, Girish.
Thank you so much, Piyush bhai.
See you guys next time.
See you guys. Let's go.